And I swear to God, I will hold you in my
evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the semi-finals of the Oceanic Pro League. Tonight, we have the current OPL legends being challenged by Avant Garde for that first spot at the Grand Finals.
They're just falling at the hands of Legacy. King is massive in this fight. And now they're in for retreat. Fantix over the wall gets the kill. Direwolves are making a statement tonight. Swiper just going off. 3 kills already. The big Swips is a monster.
Chatty Boy gets the crit. The ace will come out for Avant Garde. And this will send Avant Garde into the semi-finals.
Hello, esports fans, and welcome to the start of the semi-finals week for this split 2 of the Oceanic Pro League. My name is Michael. Hing is Hing, and tonight, after the tightest finish to an OPL split in history, we see the team who led the entire way through, the team who beat out last-minute challenges to that #1 place in the final week, face off against the team who came out on top of that unprecedented 3-way tie for last berth in the semi-finals. It is a best of 5 to see who will be our very first team into the OPL finals. It is Legacy versus Avant Garde. And joining me in this, the business end, right here at the analyst desk, we have 2 veteran analysts of the OPL scene, professional League of Legends casters and commentators. It is Indiana Froskerin Black and Jake Spawn Tiberi. Guys, I am calling it tonight. The OPL scriptwriters have gone all out and made this the tightest. It's exciting, right? Is this the most exciting OPL semi-finals berth you've been through to?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to say that, because right now I don't think anyone knows who's going to win. I've been hanging out with the players all day, and they're quite nervous at this stage of the business end of the season. And we're used to seeing Legacy come out as minor premiers. They've done it a couple of times now, but something feels different tonight for Oscar, and I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of tension in the air.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I mean, theoretically, we've always been like Legacy versus Chiefs, and now we have Avant Garde and the Direwolves showing up. So the fact that we have 4 competitive OPL teams right now, like Jake said, we really haven't seen it before.
Best league in the world, I'll say it right now, in terms of closeness. All right, let us take an aerial view and bring up the semi-final brackets. Tonight, we see that first semi-final, the best of 5 between Legacy and Avant Garde. And then tomorrow, 6 p.m. right here on the OPL stream, we will have Chiefs and Direwolves. And all those games we played live right here in the OPL studios. Of course, the Chiefs and Direwolves coming off the back of a dramatic end of season direct swap of their AD carries going into that semi-final. So absolutely do not miss that show. In fact, you can let us know your thoughts on that and indeed everything to do with this action-packed semi-final week via social media. And to run us through that breakdown, let us hand it over to Atlas right now, who's in the war room.
Thank you very much, Hingers, and I will, of course, be your conduit to social media tonight. As you can see, or could see for a very short moment, we will be tracking exactly who you think is going to be winning in this semi-final. Use the hashtag AVWin or the hashtag LGCWin and let us know exactly what your thoughts are, because at the moment, extraordinarily close. As you can see, 53% for Legacy and 47% for AV, if my mathematics is correct. Of course, for AV, the underdogs coming into this one from that 4th place, but they do have Jake's dog, Kobe, really helping them out as far as those Twitter scores are concerned. So back to you, Hingers.
Thank you, Atlas. If you're just joining us, we're about to get into our first semi-final of this, the first OPL 2016. Follow along, hashtag IMOPL. After the most dramatic ending to a regular season, we have 2 informed teams facing off tonight. So let's take a look at the lineups. First off, we have here, live in the studio, Team Legacy, comprising Tally in the top lane, Big Daddy Carbon in the jungle, Choo Cheese in the mid lane, King as AD carry, and Kuden in support. And they will be facing off against the team who ended up 4th after a marathon season with a 3-way tiebreaker. It's Avant Garde. We have Paradise in the top lane, Shelby in the jungle, Triple playing mid lane, Chenny Boy ADC, and Jake as support. Oh my goodness, guys, let us get straight to it. Jake, do you think this is going to be a game played on the terms of experience?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing, right? When you have a look at these 2 teams, you have Carbon flanked by Tally and Choose, 2 of the most experienced players in the league. And, this really does need to be something that is very aware of. I guess the other side, across the other side of the map, you, of course, having a look at a very rookie lineup in the fact that you have Paradise and Shelby next to Paradise and triple next to Chelby, and I think that that's going to be something that, this is their first real semi-final. We'll see if they can play it out well.
Indeed. Frosco, let me ask you, this is the first kind of game week we're going to be playing on 6.15. It's a new patch, and you were saying earlier today to me backstage that this is going to really affect lane swap techniques, and people are going to be shying away from that, right?
Oh, yeah, today's an incredibly important day just because the OPL is going to be the first Western region on the new patch 6.15. Like you said, it has been adjustments to lane swapping, particularly the tower defense in the top side of the lane, increased that to 50% damage mitigation, as well as increasing its health. So theoretically, this should at least create standard lanes for the first 5 minutes of the duration of that turret. What is it? I'm looking for the word F.
Fortification.
Fortification, thank you, the turret fortification for 5 minutes. So with standard lanes in place, this benefits AV, I think, in the top lane right now, but I think it benefits Legacy in the bottom lane.
All right, well, let's keep asking. That is me passing a note off camera. Smooth as always. This is more live than ever before. Let me ask you, Jake.
I want to talk about top laners. All right, let's just get there. Higgins is going to die. Give me the camera back over here. So top laners right now is really important because I, kind of called Tally the Osuni, and I certainly do stand by that statement in the fact that he is an absolute monster in the top lane. However, he has started going to a little bit of a slump, and I think the Paradise has stepped up in that regard, and I think that it's really key to note that, even though this is it should be going in Tally's favor. He's got all the experience, all the champion, big champion pool. Paradise, he's just a freak show at the moment.
Yeah, and I just have to piggyback on the back of that. I completely agree. Tally, he's an established superstar, although a bit slumping. Paradise, a superstar in the making. And right now, if we look at Tally's most recent performance, you have to give it to Paradise, which again, going back to this idea that we should have standard lanes and it's going to be an isolated 1v1, I feel like it's a race to the top lane to get that snowball going.
Frosco, work us through the rest of the map today. You're going to be seeing Drum in the top lane. What about the bottom lane? Let's talk through that.
So Cheney Boy and Jake, I kind of consider them more of a utility-oriented bottom lane. They've done really well on picks like the Ashe, like the Sivir. In fact, the Ashe has been banned against away from AV in a couple of their games. Jake has really built a reputation for him on the Karma supports, on the Nami supports, more of that disengage-oriented, so he does well on Bard. Not so much a Braum or Alistair player, at least not to the same extent that other hard-engage, bloodthirsty supports are in the league. That said, he's facing across from Kuden, the Soraka King, but he's got King next to him, who is a very aggressive AD carry. So I actually give this to Legacy's bot lane. I think that they've just been more consistent. I think King is probably either the second or third best acting AD carry in the OPL right now. Cheney Boy and Jake, they understand the responsibility in the game, and it's not to carry. Whereas Legacy, they still have that potential where they can carry from either of their roles. AD carry, mid, or top.
And I agree, but I think that normally Legacy is in a position where all their lanes don't have to really go berserk, right? And I think that there's more pressure on Kood in this game to not just be a facilitator. I mean, farming up, going even against Cheney and Jake is not a win, because that's exactly to what AV plays towards. I think that this really is a different style of game where if King isn't exploiting what should be a weaker duo lane, not getting these kills, then I think that Legacy lose out on the top side of the map just a little bit. So, a lot of maybe unprecedented pressure on the Legacy duo.
Sure. All right. Well, let us throw right now to your predictions. This is a best of 5. Legacy are obviously going in seeded number 1. They are going to be favourites. But Spawn, who do you reckon is going to come out on top in this first semi-final?
So I said in the last hit article, and, I think that this will be a very close set. In saying that, it'll be a very close 3-0. Legacy has got this.
All right. And Frosco?
I'm going to stick with Legacy as well. I'm actually going to give Legacy a 3-1. We were talking about this upstairs, and I also gave...
hedge betting. That's what I like to see. I don't know why, but they'll pick up one map.
No, I was talking to Jake. Jake obviously got to speak with the players a little bit beforehand, so I just think that Avant can edge something out.
By the way,
It's
she
like
means
some
Jake me, not Jake the
him.
support player for Avant. She
Claiming
means
some
she
sort
was
of
talking to me, and I've talked
inside
to her
knowledge.
to a 3-1 somehow.
Yeah, he says 3-0. I say 3-1. Still going with Legacy.
All right, mark it up. Those are the predictions. That is enough from us right here at the Analyst Desk. So to take us to the games, earlier tonight, Spawn, you spoke to Triple. Let's take a look at that video right now.
Hi OPL fans, Spawn here, joined by Avant Garde's mid laner Triple just before tonight's matchup. Triple, first of all, you guys beat Legacy 2-1 in Week 4. How are you feeling going into tonight's game?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm nervous, but confident at the same time because, well, it's my first LAN, but I think we can definitely beat them.
All right, cool. That certainly is confidence going into it. Facing off against Choo Choo's in the mid lane for Legacy. What are your thoughts on Choo Choo's play at the moment?
I'm not scared. Like he's like mediocre as a mid laner, and I think I can beat him. So especially in 2v2 with jungle help.
And that was my next question, actually. Obviously, you facing with Chelby off against Carbon and Choo Choos. They have been a veteran presence in the OPL. What are your thoughts of your jungler, Chelby? I mean, he's been around for some time as well.
Yeah, I guess like he can be really hit or miss, but I think in pressure situations and on land, he can pull it off.
All right, see whether he can do that, of course, heading into tonight's game.
Thank you very much, Spawn. And of course, really good to hear from Triple, but they are some fighting words up against Choose, who does have a heck of a lot of LAN experience.
Yeah, definitely fighting words. I think the word mediocre definitely just sums it up. Triple quite confident coming into this one, but it's not going to be an easy task. As you said, legacy and experience veteran roster, as is just Choose specifically.
Yeah, this is the thing. Choose has always been that presence, especially when it comes to these final stages of the split. He's always been able to turn up. Had a bit of a slump here in the middle of this split, but the last few weeks have been ridiculous out of the player.
Yeah, he definitely has found his form, but we have to contrast that with Avant Garde, where they have Chelby as the jungle, which naturally comes into the 2v2 duos that were once again spoken about by Triple. He thinks he's confident, and I agree with him, because Chelby on LAN does just go to another level and really steps up.
Most certainly does. Sort of, we always reference back to that Nidalee game. Remember, you can just look it up. It is on YouTube at the moment. It is ridiculous as Chelby can perform to such heights when it comes to the crunch. We are into Champions Select now, and Gragas is going to be banned away here by Legacy. And Carbon, I believe, has played his last 6 games on the champion, now wants to get rid of it. Shelby, of course, pretty practiced Gragas player, but an interesting ban on the blue side. Is Malzahar going to follow, and Braum taken away by AV?
Yeah, so a reminder, we are on patch 6.15, and Malzahar did see some touch-ups, arguably not good enough to be banned anymore, yet still being respected and taken away from the side of AV. Triple has done a lot of work on the champion, as has Chelby with the Gragas, and really just trying to remove a single combo here is Legacy.
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to work. There's Vladimir banned away as well, another champion that received a couple of nerfs here on 6.15. That's Sanguine Pool now having a little bit longer of a cooldown, and his movement speed has been kicked back just a little bit. But Bard is the follow-up ban here on the side of Legacy, and Soraka, aimed at Kuden, is going to leave the Rift. So still a lot of big picks available, and Legacy goes straight for the Jhin.
Surprisingly important pickup here. Chenny Boy has been very successful when playing Jhin.
Yeah.
As AV wastes no time in locking in a jungler.
God, yeah, and the Cassiopeia for the mid lane as well. Of course, a pick away from Choose, but Triple, a fantastic Cass player at the same time. See whether it's going to work. Of course, the Rek'Sai makes a heck of a lot of sense. Chelby always goes back to it. No Gragas, may as well be on the Rek'Sai.
And the other thing is Carbon plays like every champion is Rek'Sai to an extent. The Elise, basically the only standing jungler that he may revert towards.
Well, they have already locked in the Trundle and Talia. This is going extraordinarily fast as Choose opts into that mid lane matchup against the Cassiopeia. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, picking the Talia. Confidence pick actually here out of Choose. Not only does he know the matchup, but has been playing a lot of the champion. Between Cass and Talia, 2 of OPL's most prevalent champions at present.
Yeah.
Not only that, the Trundle with the Jhin. Quite a unique combo. One of the few champions that can support and top lane all the same. But most likely to be seen in that support role with the Jhin, because the Trundle pillar does 1 true damage, can make them aggravated, and Jin's W can lock you down. Also the slow that comes out of it and the displacement is quite predictable.
Yeah, I do like the fact that it's still flexible as well, because Talia has played the champion quite a lot. And at the moment, AV looking at that bottom lane, and Legacy will be able to decide exactly what they want to throw at it. It's Triple. He's going to find the Karma for Jake. Definitely a comfort pick for him. We heard Froskerin talking about it on the desk, as Chenny Boy goes back to the Ezreal now that his Jhin was picked away, and that's a Nidalee pick locked in straight away, and it is going to be the support Trundle as King takes Aurelia for Tally.
Yeah, Legacy wastes no time.
No time at all.
In all of their champions. They definitely had a plan. That Aurelia has been locked in, blind, knowing that Paradise and Red Side will get that last pick, and it does take the Aurelia away from Paradise. And if we want to talk about how AV got through their tiebreakers, I think it's safe to say it was Paradise and Aurelia as the combo.
I believe the last game he played on Aurelia was a 13-0-3.
Yes.
And that is just pretty ridiculous. The moment hovering the ribbon, we'll see whether Paradise does go towards it, because, of course, you can't really throw that one away because he's played it already.
He does have the Fiora as the counter pick into Aurelia. We've seen it successful multiple times now in the OPL. But aside from that, Paradise is a standout Echo, which isn't ideal into Aurelia. Nah, which also isn't ideal into Aurelia. But it depends if they want his matchup or if they want the team composition. Knowing AV, it's usually his matchup.
Well, of course, Jax hasn't been banned as well. Was generally banned away from Paradise every single time, but it is going to be the Riven. The gauntlet's been thrown. Of course, Tally was the original OPL Riven main. Now Paradise has turned up, of course, also a bit of an advocate for the champion, and they are going to be your comps right there. Lots of carry potential on the top side of the map. We were going to say top lane is going to be a big focus in this whole series.
Yeah, definitely is going to be. We're going to continue to highlight Paradise versus Tally, two of the standout carries of their team. Not only that, we've got Choose and Carbon against Chelby and Triple, the dynamic duos. The wild card's always going to get thrown in that bottom lane that we have to highlight King's performances as of late. Chenny's starting to rise and do more and more, and King isn't all that confident against him. But this really could go either way based off laning matchups, which is surprising to say.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, as well as the fact that they just match up in such a cool fashion. I mean, you got a lot of utility there towards the bottom side of the map, makes a heck of a lot of sense. Choose on the Talia into Triples Cassiopeia, a lot of skill shots need to be landed, a lot of explosive activity to happen there in the mid lane. Top lane needs no further introduction, just ridiculous as far as Riven versus Aurelia is concerned. I think a lot of this has to do with the jungle, and the Rek'Sai, who wants to be farming up, has a bit more of that, I guess, gank pressure with the knock-up against the Nidalee coming out of Carbon, which has had a bit of changes on this patch.
Yeah, definitely. Nidalee's slightly different, of course. Her clear's only been affected by about, 4 seconds total after experimenting with it. Not a big deal. On the opposite side, though, there's a higher inclination towards ganking. If you look at the Rex side, Nidalee maybe a counter ganker or just vision control wants to keep Chelby down, and it will be quite interesting to watch this dynamic unfold. Can Carbon control Chelby, or will he just run away with the entire game?
Yeah, and will he be able to get that counter jungling happening? So we can see the players about to hop onto the Rift for our first semi-final match. Avant Garde taking on Legacy, 4th versus 1st. And remember, this is an OPL Legend match at the same time. See whether Legacy are going to be able to hold on to it as we move forward. But now, onto the Rift. We'll see where things are going to start. Of course, remember, we did hear about it from the desk, but not a lane swap meta anymore, Rusty.
That's right, 6.15. They have changed the turret strength, 50% fortification. But it only lasts for 5 minutes instead of 7. However, there's first blood bonuses for turrets being taken. And so that fortification bonus is actually a lot. When you really think about it, the amount of gold that a top laner gets in one hit, if they take the turret, is about 550 gold. And if they go back to standard, you're basically out of the lane. And between an Aurelia and a Riven, neither of them want to get pushed out of lane because that lane goes one of two directions. You're either 10-0 or you're 0-10.
Yep, it goes that way pretty damn fast as well. As I believe it was Paradise versus Ryu in this matchup. Did not go so well in the laning phase. However, Hellions didn't do so bad when it came to the mid game, and Riven was still Riven.
That's the interesting thing, right? Like, yes, it was Hellions, and perhaps AV were being slightly disrespectful in the way they played it out with the lead that they had. But the Riven is good through the laning phase we saw from him. He definitely can continue to pressure the 1v1. But the second team play is involved. The Aurelia, you would expect, is more of a standout champion.
Yeah, think about the backline dive threat with the Blade Surge. You don't really have one of those when you're a Riven. You're just bouncing all over people.
You have the flash. Very flash-reliant champion. Boots of Lucidity are usually core for that reason.
At the moment, you can see Legacy choose just pushing out this mid lane, much as Talia does want to do. Triple just doing his very best to farm things up and does so very effectively. As the laning phase is going to start. Carbon over on his blue side of the map. Red start here for Chelby.
He's looking for them.
Oh, doesn't get one.
Does find Chelby, though, accidentally. He was looking to take the 3 chickens. It was like a cheeky maneuver, something that Talia can do, much like a Zit, just a little bit more efficient if you are the Talia. And didn't hard push in, so actually kept like a 3-minion advantage, opposed to just pushing it and denying minions under the top.
Well, of course, knowledge of where the jungler is important, as Jake takes a lot of damage from that dancing grenade.
And you can watch Carbon's movements now. He knows where Chelby is, assumes they're red side, so Talia will probably go and place his ward within the next 10 to 15 seconds, depending on his lane.
Yep. Carbon, interestingly, goes for the 0 keystone build. Does that look sort of like a, I'm not entirely sure, like a 999 or something like that? I don't know how many masteries you're
Do you want to have 12 in a particular tree? So it could be like a 12, 12, 6
yeah,
page.
12, 6, something like that.
That's going to be my guess.
Oh, it's interesting. Carbon is going to smite away his red buff, and we'll see how it works out as he moves throughout this game.
About to full clear at 3 minutes and roughly 20 odd seconds, so still doing it extremely quickly.
Yeah. Of course, the biggest takeaway from Italy was that auto reset as Chelby looking for the knockup. Gets the flash as Triple throws down the miasma, but maybe a little bit late. But good summoner spell gained here by AV.
Yeah, good summoner spell. Chelby actually trading it, however. There's always an opportunity to return.
Speaking of opportunity, Jake has to get the heal out of Chenny Boy. He's still incredibly low. First blood comes in as King flashes for it. Now Chenny in trouble. Kuden running himself away as another dancing grenade does a lot of damage. And Legacy own this bottom lane.
Yeah, the immediate reaction and movement from Legacy's 2v2, not only knowing where Chelby was, but knowing that he couldn't be there. And that's a confidence play out of Legacy. They come out on top because of this. That's strong for their bottom lane. However, we still look towards Chelby.
Yeah, as Tally gets a nice equilibrium strike with Paradise winning this trade, utilizing that passive very effectively.
Paradise having a great time right now. Of course, it was 1 potion to the 3 of the corrupting to the Doran's shield. But that missing, I think it's 8 damage with every auto attack. Starting to hurt Tally a little bit, it seems. Paradise doing well.
Looks like that block mechanic as well helping out with the Doran's shield as Carbon just leaps over towards this Krug camp. Will continue to do well. Oh, Choo-Choo's unable to grab it with the size of the shot.
Be careful. Like a tunnel, you can't flash away.
Yep, certainly doesn't as well as he gets slowed by the red buff. Triple's ghosting over right now as the Q does come down. Triple flashes, the miasma's down, and Choose is just going to die. AV answer that first blood from Legacy.
So he used his one tool of keeping Chelby away from him to try and steal the Raptor, opposed to any other spell. Pretty easy to capitalize on that. Big mistake from Choose.
Yeah, it's an odd one. This Tally looks to try and get some damage back onto Paradise here, but continues to not do so well in these trades, but better than we were expecting.
I think if Chelby ever threatens here, though, note that he's too low to do so. Tally would have been pushed away from the turret, and because of the gank that they just put down, because of the fact that Chelby's too low, Tally's able to hang around. He will be a W max Aurelia, and so has a fair bit of sustain from auto attacks. But Paradise has complete control of this next wave. Things still even out well enough for Legacy, considering.
Yeah, we'll see whether Tally teleports back up to this lane as well to make sure that he doesn't miss out on that minion wave. Sheen's picked up, so aggressive start here for the Aurelia. We'll keep that minion alive, and Paradise going to go back home.
Yep, so they'll share recalls. Of course, only one wave the difference between the two. Forced teleport is the major difference, though, for Tally. Paradise has the option right now of either walking or teleporting. Chooses to match because he can afford to do so, but Carbon's also here. And with this item spike that Paradise got, perhaps he has a confidence play that could come back to hurt him because there's actually 4 people here.
Yeah, everyone coming towards the top side of the map. Carbon's going to head in.
Make that
the
5.
Qs are going to be used. Takedowns there. Kuden's going to turn up as well as Choose. Seismic Shove doesn't find it as the pause comes in at the most inopportune time. I have a feeling King probably will be able to find that Deadly Flourish because it looked pretty good to me. We'll see whether it actually works out. Oh my goodness, very intense.
Yeah, definitely not the best moment to pause if you're Paradise. For Legacy, it does look like they're going to be able to get themselves that first blood, but that's not only the first thing that they will get. Sorry, first turret blood is what I was actually trying to say. You get it bonus gold on that. And that was an immediate lane swap at 5 minutes after the fortification buff was gone on these turrets. Very proactive move.
Yeah, and Legacy looking like they know exactly what they're doing here on 6.15 as well. Understanding that now that that turret is vulnerable, they want to be able to get that extra gold. Makes a lot of sense to just send 5 people up there. And if you can keep down a Riven at the same time, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely right. So very strong movements at the moment from Legacy. Not only do they get the kill in their bottom lane, the only real blundering point for them at present is actually their mid lane, where Choose is playing too forward, too aggressive, and actually trying to keep Chelby down, or at least vision of where he is, actually contesting every single Raptor camp. It's gotten him killed.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting one as well, just because he probably doesn't need to necessarily go any further than finding out that the Rek'Sai is there. Maybe steal a little one and then walk away. And the Seismic Shove utilized to try and steal it. Probably unnecessary, as you mentioned before, but we'll see whether Triple's going to be able to capitalize because Cassiopeia can snowball at the same time.
And has the Ghost as the big summoner spell used from the cast, so still has the summoners to kill him, still has a lot of damage in a 1v1 capacity, and the real issue to me was Choose using his W to try and keep down Raptors, means he's losing his escape or disengage tool for himself. I think once that level 6 point comes around, Chelby should come back, should actually try and pick up on that, and perhaps his flash won't be there next time as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned level 6 as well. I mean, we do have to mention that Talia, a little bit of a nerf as far as her ultimate is concerned, slightly higher cooldown on the Weaver's Wall, but still will have all of that added utility. And how do you reckon Legacy's team composition is going to work utilizing that particular spell? Because it is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really cool moment where they're moving to right now where they could have perhaps look towards using the Weave as well, getting top lane and diving Paradise, but they seem to have got it locked down of their own choice. And at this stage, I feel like the next play will involve the Talia ultimate, the next Weaver's Wall that will come out, and there's a lot of utility behind it, strictly because they can start sieging, and when one turret's broken, they can either make the move for the second, or they can swap lanes, go bottom, do the exact same thing, and that's a unique utility that a Cassiopeia can't match.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And I actually do... Oh, as we do make our way back in, Paradise was able to flash out of the way of the Deadly Flourish, had a lot of time to make sure that he'd be able to get that flash, thought he was already able to use it. The Legacy will get priority on this turret.
Yeah, very well done to get out, but you have to remember, as we said, turrets now being traded. The immediate move from AV is towards the bottom side of the rift, but that move is going to be costly for them when you think of the gold that Tally's now about to acquire for himself when he chooses to auto-attack the turret.
Yeah, just massive. Just making sure that he denies as many creeps as possible from Paradise, who, like you said, did well to hold on to his life. Certainly won't hold on to his turret, as now Rift Herald's going to be taken. We'll see where the Tally comes down and picks that one up as well, because that's going to put Aurelia in such a good position.
Yeah, that's actually disgusting. They're now making this move. Tally down here indicates they are giving it to him. From this, that's about, was it 400 bonus gold, so 250 local gold, 25 bonus, so 275, and then another 275. So 550 golds now Tally's that he can go back and buy with a Rift Herald buff. That guy is huge.
He's gigantic. Paradise was singing his praises. This guy has been a massive carry force for Avant. Well, he's just started up hard mode up against Tally, and we'll see whether it's going to be good enough. Shelby is able to lock himself down the Dragon. Tower did fall, I believe, on the bottom side of the map here for AV at the same time, so evening that one up. But they are still behind. Tally level 6. Paradise also hits that mark.
Yeah, remember Tally may have the buff, but he hasn't recalled yet with any money. Spikes, of course, stuck here due to the wave that is now pushing in towards him. You can see the difference between the two now. Very much indicative of what's just happened.
Yeah, 700. As Paradise tries to deny the cannon and does so. Very nicely done. As you can see, lane swap ensuing once again.
Yeah, so AV now making a move towards the top side of the map, spotted by Vision. Of course, Jakey just walking through that red buff ward that Shelby's now on. They will be announced towards Legacy that they are coming here, but a level 7 Aurelia should have enough power in the ulti to clip the back wave and trim the minions before they arrived, and does so.
Yeah, at the moment, going to be heading back to base. Shelby thinking about getting into position for a dive, but there's not going to be anyone there to dive. A little bit unfortunately.
Yep, so he has to go. They will be fast, though, doing this. They have got 4 people now actively pushing the turret down. The response from Legacy is only 2 members strong.
King and Kuden still have a fair bit of damage. A few extra minions there as well, as AV take this one down in the nick of time. Right as that last caster creep dies. Now King will be able to deny these minions and pick up the turret himself. So 2 for 2. Legacy still with a pretty big lead. The seismic shove doesn't find triple.
Yeah, the continuation of the turrets being taken has been commenced, but now that both outer turrets are gone, the real question mark that always taints a lot of teams is, how do we break mid, or do we even bother breaking mid? How does the lane assignments go for farm? Legacy notoriously want to get 2 freezes, they want to get Tally going. They also want King to farm up, whereas AV usually just preference Paradise with that farm, and Chenny's kind of just stuck to go mid.
At the moment, he is trying to farm things out here on the bottom side,
I mean,
but
look
can't
how
get to the minion wave.
is.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just hanging out.
It's like, no. In a turret. This is where I feel safe. I feel safe here.
The other thing is he's a tier champion against the Aurelia, which is the lane assignments right now.
Yeah.
So if you even look at Aurelia funny, she'll chunk your health bar.
She's got a Phage and a Sheen now as well, so well and truly towards that Trinity Force. Very frightening. Choose decided to take the teleport at the same time.
Yeah. Ups towards a lot of map movement. So
yeah,
has his ulti, also has his teleport. Compare that to Triple, who's gone for the Ghost and the Flash. Can't really get around Summoner's Rift as efficiently, but has a lot of lane power as he's just a Cassiopeia in general.
Yep, that'll do it.
And as you can see, reflected through the CS difference.
Yeah, 102 to 84 right now, close to a 20 CS lead. In fact, right now, is at that 20 CS point. Double tiers on this squad though, so of course looking for the Seraph's Embrace and the Manamune from both of these guys. Shenny Boy and Triple will hit relatively similar item spikes, theoretically, with those two.
As have junglers. relative to each other. It's a Cinder Hulk to the Runic Echoes.
Yeah.
Of course, Carbon usually accelerates his jungle clear speed with this first item spike that he's achieved. And so there may be a lot more movements from him proactively around Summoner's Rift. However, Chelby's always got the added utility of his ultimate, where he can just screech and work his way across the rift.
Yeah, slightly more, I guess, global presence from the Rek'Sai, which is probably going to come in handy against Legacy's double teleport composition, allowing Chelby to answer. But Killer goes down, tunnels out of the way, does Chelby, as Paradise and Tally facing off one more time. Paradise now with the level advantage after spending some time towards the top side on his own.
Yeah, but this is a good movement from Legacy if they're able to pressure it out. It means that Paradise doesn't get the Soul XP and the Soul CS, where the Aurelia had just stacked up a wave and pushed it in towards him. So they're able to deny potential freezes or a lot of pressure secured by AV, and that's how they break the freeze. Legacy aren't a team that's just going to walk at you and dive you. Instead, they're going to pressure you out and just try and macro.
Make sure that they can get things done. At the moment, moving back towards this mid lane as Tally and Choose just clearing out wave after wave. Triple, of course, with plenty of wave clear. Going to be able to deal with this wave just fine. Legacy not opting to do anything more. Jake hanging out here as well, setting up the minions adorably.
What a nice bloke.
Yeah, fantastic. There's a bunch of work ground here in the mid lane, but Talia moves herself back in. Morello and Omicron almost done for both of our mid laners. Choose probably pretty close to it right now.
Yeah, and also the fact that the Cassiopeia is now starting to branch out, I suppose, in itemization choices and go for the Morellos. It's very different because originally it was the tier into like a Rylai's. We have a lot of utility there. You can slow everybody down. But people are starting to put a lot more value and emphasis on having that cooldown reduction, having that mana regeneration. Is Paradise now in trouble?
Yeah, most certainly is. Nice double stun, but is it going to be enough as he's dashing forward? The flash comes out. Will he have an E? And he does. Chelby is going to get here in time as Carbon's going to get knocked up. Wind Slash comes through as Chooses looking for the damage.
How is he
Doesn't quite find it. Nice stun comes in, but Paradise eventually falls. Shelby gets out. My goodness, that was close from Paradise.
Yeah, that man has a lot of cooldown reduction, and he lived for far too long. Almost gets out if it wasn't for Choo Choo's making his way in. And again, that's the major difference between our mid laners. That is definitely reflected in a second kill now gained by Legacy.
Yeah, the first death for Paradise, but fortunately, still not having a great time. Equal on farm, but that Trinity Force will be coming in very, very soon. And there won't be the black cleaver to answer it.
And it's a similar principle, actually, as to what Fiora does in beating Aurelia. As you hit that black cleaver spike before a Trinity Force, and you start to scale and push them out of lane around that point. That's where you really start to accelerate in the 1v1. However, because they put more resources into Tally, they try and set him up for success. Legacy are able to at least match the timing of that item spike.
As once again, we do have a slight pause. Of course, the next dragon will be an Infernal Drake as well, as you saw Chelby taking that Rift Scuttler. The next dragon probably going to be one that both of these teams want. And if we're looking at these compositions as far as power spikes in the early game, are we looking at Legacy having control here potentially over this Dragon Pit, or are we thinking AV might have a chance to get their way back in with the 5v5?
I mean, current signs point towards actually just having an advantage towards Legacy, but AV have always got the availability of at least the 4v4. The real question mark to me is, can they avoid the 5v5? If they actually have the Aurelia involved, then Chenny's just not long for this Earth in general. Also, Tali is able to get to the backline, or at least deny the backline from doing damage. I feel like any kind of fight for an objective in a neutral capacity, so the Dragons or the Barons, where the Weaver's Wall is actually able to be utilized, then it could cause a lot of concern for AV. So they want to ideally either start the objective off themselves or just avoid it in general and try and win the 1v1 or push somewhere else and find advantages.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, you know, Cassiopeia now coming out of the mid lane here for AV, phenomenal neutral control, and could be an opportunity here for AV to put a little bit of a win condition on these Dragon pickups. With an Infernal Drake coming up, that is fantastic moving into the late game.
Absolutely, and any team composition with a Jhin for one team wants to have the Infernal, and any composition with a Cass wants it for the opposite team. So at the moment, AV and Legacy are just going to be looking at the Dragon Pit and saying, yep, that could be a good one.
Most certainly could. Of course, Riven scales phenomenally well with an Infernal Drake at the same time. Of course, you even get survivability from picking up AD, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons that Riven, even in that last engagement, used his ultimate. Because you can just show up and actually get a bigger shield that people aren't expecting to see. And again, one of the major reasons that he lived for as long as he did, simply because you can press your R key, give yourself AD, press a giant shield.
Yeah, and it worked quite effectively until, of course, Choo Choo's turned up, picked up the kill. And Choos, this is a player that we've been talking about improving a lot over the last little while and has certainly managed to clear things up after that earlier death that he suffered at the hands of Triple as he ghosted after him as that Snake Lady, and always able to move around the map. We'll see whether Choos continues it as this game goes on.
Looks like one of the big differences between these mid laners is Choos, as the split has progressed, is inclined more and more towards actually leaving his lane and just having an impact with the rest of his team. Because if he can protect Carbon or protect Tally or empower either, then Legacy looks better.
Legacy at the moment looking at the Infernal Drake. Paradise does have teleport. Choo Choo makes his way over. You can see Aurelia on the top side of the map, but this Dragon's just going to be given up. True Shot Barrage attempts to go for some sort of a steal, but Chenny not too lucky on that one. He's going to find Carbon with a cute little Mystic shot there.
Yeah, best case scenario was a steal there from Chenny. Paradise yet to get his Black Cleaver. Tally has a full Trinity Force available to him, so teleport influence would have been massive from the side of Legacy. Not only that, Tally was invisible to the map as he was walking back from the base with that item Spike. And so they can't really afford to look for a 4v4, try and push their way in, or even 4v4 at this point would have been risky given that it's a Ghostblade Jhin opposed to components on an Ezreal who's now just got his Manamune.
So decent spike for Chenny, but you're right.
Not comparable.
No. Dangerous now coming out from AV because they're falling further and further behind. It's close to 3,000 gold the lead here at 15 minutes in, and it just looks like Legacy, as they are wont to do oftentimes, are just organically winning the game at this point. And AV need to do something in order to stop that from happening.
Yeah, it feels like Legacy came into this with a reasonable battle plan. Nothing outrageous or outlandish has happened whatsoever. It's just clean League of Legends from our blue side. AV is still a scaling composition. You need to consider that the Riven does want items.
Whoa, Triple just yells at Choos.
Unlucky.
But Choos wasn't listening.
Notice me.
Yeah.
Triple was saying.
She's like, oh, no. Not this time.
Today. Unfortunate. Really is. Triple's now, because the ultimate's gone, it means that Choos has the same strength as Triple in laning phase. That's the one big difference between these control mages. Choos has just got a giant wall that he pushes out. Doesn't do damage and stun you.
Jake is going to try and hold on to his pink ward. Doesn't. Carbon, with the help of his troll friend Kuden, are going to be able to clear that one out. And as we check into the CS as far as our junglers are concerned, Shelby lagging behind a little bit from Carbon, who's been very aggressive in his invading and maneuvering around this jungle. Spear doesn't find Chenny. Continues to look to clear. Oh, nice shield comes out, and Chenny actually likes his chances here. Spear goes wide, and Carbon looks to leave.
Yeah, I mean, even wanted to go forward a little bit there, Chenny. Doesn't mean he'll be okay when it comes to the 3v3, however. Jhin able to have that long-range lockdown, so if Chenny ever used the spell forward, he was probably going to die there. Again, Legacy now starting to make moves as more than just the 2v2 or 3v3, utilizing their global capabilities.
Triple has that ultimate back off cooldown now as well, thanks to the extra cooldown reduction in the Morellonomicon. And Legacy are going to back away. Do not want to go for anything that AV can set themselves up for.
At this stage, I'm calling it the Omni.
Oh, yeah?
Miss an ultimate, it's a zoning ultimate. Because that was like Omni's best utility when he played Cat. It was banned from him. Every time that he found an opportunity to use the ultimate, it just wouldn't stun people. Or it would sometimes just miss.
Yeah.
But usually it was to push them away from something that like Tainted Mind still got successfully. It just feels wrong seeing somebody use the ultimate that way.
It's almost like how Swiffy uses it. He doesn't use it as a form of CC at all. He uses it as a big damage ability and does so, you know, killing people underneath their turrets. Paradise is going to get aggressed on. There's the Weaver's Wall coming in as well as Paradise gets himself a decent stun, but he's going down so low. Tally's going to slow him down with the Equilibrium Strike, and Choos once again takes down Paradise.
Yeah, best case scenario for Paradise there was just no assist for Choos, and that doesn't even come true for him. This is not the situation that AV win games of League of Legends in. This is a sign of the experienced Legacy now making plays.
Yeah, and King going to throw down the ultimate here. Curtain Call flies through. Oh my goodness, the ultimate once again not going to find anyone. This is a really nice Weaver's Wall coming out of Choos.
Was that the knockback from Choos that actually moved the Cass ult away from them?
It felt like that. Not entirely sure whether it even supposed to work that way. Carbon's super dead. Yeah, Triple's going to be able to pick up that kill, so nice follow-up. AV looking to try and hold on to this turret. Will have a better time doing so now. without the cat lady.
Yeah, as in they can actually do it now. They just took an advantage Legacy and Carbon just ran into a brick wall with it. That doesn't actually get you the turret, unfortunately. Was trying to place vision, set his team up for a siege, but that eventual siege is thwarted early in its advances by the damage that Triple can still put out. He doesn't need the ultimate to do that damage. The Twin Fangs is his major crux.
Yep. Hasn't actually been back to base in quite some time as well. Currently sitting at just over 200 CS at 18 minutes. And we mentioned scaling on the side of AV. Well, that has a lot to do with the Cassiopeia. And she's killing a hell of a lot of minions.
Yeah, one big, like, it's still going to come back into this. Triple's going to be big. Chenny will eventually get to a point where he's big as well. Still just 3 zeros in his scoreline, and he's getting his items. Wants that big 2-item spike. It's still Paradise. It's still compare Paradise to Tally and how AV win League of Legends. They've even sculpted themselves with this strong 4-man team composition where eventually Paradise can come in with flanks and assassinate people. But what it means is that realistically, Legacy look better now in a 5v5. But it comes down to if Paradise can still assassinate people whilst being 0-2, and I think he can. It's more that he just can't 1v1 to set up the waves as efficiently anymore.
Nor win that sort of 1v1 matchup in a side lane as well. I mean, we saw that Tally was able to take that one against Paradise regardless. It has a lot to do with their win conditions that we've been seeing from AV over the most recent games. Very scary. And Shelby at the moment setting himself up around this dragon. 13 seconds until the Ocean Drake spawns.
Yeah, first step's the blue buff. They are trying to contest that one. If you get it off the Cass, you'd be quite happy for the side of Legacy.
Oh, that pillar, what a troll. Carbon lands the spear, looking for that takedown smite combo for a heck of a lot of secure. Spear, he's going to hit Shelby, blocks it out of the way, and he's just going to take the blue for himself. Cassiopeia was needed in the mid lane.
Yep, so denied, as the spear even gets denied, but Legacy now move towards this Drake. They take it out with the 5-man roster within reaching distance of the pit.
Yeah, Crucial Barrage flies through once again as Carbon just primally surges himself back to relative health bar. We'll be able to secure that one. Legacy off to the side here, have a pink ward for the added vision as Seismic Shove doesn't find anyone who show his face and say, yeah, no, we're not going to find anything here.
It's still a pretty cool composition from Legacy. So what they put together, the original iteration of the Talia we saw from them was a Zia Talia, where Talia was a top laner. This time around it's actually Trundle with the Talia mid, where you can still displace Earth and actually cause a lot of problems when it comes to either sieges or team fights where Legacy are an advantage. Think about the Weaver's Wall or the Talia W combined with the Trundle Pillar. You're going to lock them down, displace them, and slow them massively, but things will have to get burnt defensively.
Yeah, and I really like it as well as blocking off King from the rest of AV at the same time. He doesn't want to be close to a team fight, so he can throw out his ultimate from a large distance.
This is Shelby.
Yeah, he's going to get stunned, but uses the tunnel beforehand. There's the ultimate, gets the slow as Shelby has to flash. Bullet dodged, third bullet dodged at the same time as he's trying to get away. Does get himself a decent knock-up as Chenny is going to turn up. Weaver's Wall comes in, good pillar at the same time. And Shelby just says, it just can't.
Even the minions are like, we're free.
And Choose decided not to go with his wall towards that top side.
Yeah, they didn't get the kill. Unfortunately, too many things missed. There's now mid lane. Lots of damage out of Chenny now.
Does have that 2-item spike. Looking good with the Iceborne Gauntlet. Not able to find too much though. Still 2,700 gold lead for Legacy, but that has been the story for the last 7 minutes of this game. AV consolidating quite nicely.
Yeah, just holding it down. They're getting towards item spikes that their team composition is definitely avidly searching for. Legacy are still content with scaling themselves. So we've spoken about what AV have, but any Jhin composition is going to scale in some capacity. Because the major concern is that Choose playing Talia doesn't have as strong a late game as Triple on the Cass, where all of AV will meet late game with open arms.
Yeah. How about Riven? I haven't had a how about Riven in late game conversation with anyone for quite some time. We haven't seen her very much in competitive play.
I mean, Riven builds damage, so she's always going to have a relevant late game. Like, tanks scale off.
Yeah.
To a degree, I think that Riven's late game's good once she gets like a GA in her build, which is like maybe 3 items or 4 items, depends on the Riven.
See how Paradise decides to build this one. Looking for the Ravenous Hydra for his next option. 30% CDR already built up. We'll see whether a Death Dance is going to come in there to finish off that 40%. I personally would like it because I love that item. as an Alawi player. Big fan.
One of those guys, huh?
Yeah.
A jerk. Hey, Swipe is not a jerk.
Hey, no, he's not, but I am. It's Paradise. Choose looking for the Rylai's slow, doesn't get it. Seismic Shove not going to find him either. So it was quite close. Filler comes in. Jake
You're just in
stuck
trouble.
in the wall. That is annoying. Spear is going to land. Jake does make it underneath his turret.
King had his ult.
What the heck?
Come on, man. Use it. He's trapped. Force a summoner spell out of Jake. It was a Karma that could have flashed away. Instead just hangs out in the wall and then walks out afterwards.
Yeah, just tanks a bunch of damage. He comes down. Seismic Shove avoided there by Paradise, who just cues his way away. Chenny uses the heal to make sure the Riven survives.
Yeah, still summoner spells used as, once again, Legacy looking quite forward. They're controlling the bottom side jungle near the blue buff and working from A to B consistently. That was a wall.
Yeah.
Those red lines are a wall. Well,
Yeah.
they were.
I'm really perplexed as to what's happening here. Because it was slightly off. Yeah, okay. He just decided not to ride it through the trees there. I looked at the cooldown, and of course it stays up while you have it up.
Yeah.
Which confused the heck out of me. Because I heard the wall and then didn't see any wall. And I was like, oh, you tricksy devil, you.
Well, which wall wins?
What, the
If
actual
a Talia
wall?
wall goes through an actual, like, summoner's rift wall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like chicken or the egg, I guess. It's just going to be a wall then.
Well, I feel like, you know, the League of Legends wall was probably there first.
It
As
was
far as the
about that.
chicken and the egg conversation goes. That is a good point. Which should take precedence?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, which one will remain?
Are we writing over the wall with our Talia wall? Well, we'll find out next time. Hopefully Choose runs it through a wall one more time.
I don't think that's in his playbook, unfortunately. They are still trying to make those positive moves, though. And unfortunately for Legacy, they've been pushed out of their jungle, and they're now in.
Yeah, Jake once again going to get stunned up. Ultimate comes out this time from King. True Shot Barrage does a fair bit of damage, but Chenny has to get himself out of there. Easy pickings on the Karma, and AV cannot respond.
Legacy's damage is huge. King's just going insane at the moment. It must be a big item spike for them. Locks down everybody, basically, that gets touched by him. And now they threaten the mid lane turret.
Yeah, good seismic shove onto Chelby, who's still getting slowed. They do manage to take down this turret. Deadly Flourish doesn't find the Rek'Sai. Chelby has been swift-footed today. Triple does clear out the way, so nothing more here for Legacy, but they just have so much control over both sides of AV's jungle.
Yeah,
And once again, extending the gold, exactly right.
It's starting to creep out further. Legacy is starting to get more control than they already had through these picks, and it's the Jhin composition one more time. We saw a first pick priority on that champion, and this is exactly why. You hit a spear, you hit a Talia spell at all, you hit a Trundle Pillar. They are locked down, and they die.
And he picked up that Duskblade actually quite some time ago as Chenny, oh my goodness, almost exploded by Choose.
Holy.
Whoa, thankfully Jake was there to speed him back up. That burst damage is out of control.
Yeah, if there's one thing Choose does have and Talia does have, it's combo damage just everywhere. Shows what it's capable of doing and coincides really well with the timing of the Drake. Of course, Legacy have had this bottom side vision for upwards of 5 minutes now. That reflects through a simple execute on a Drake.
Take that one down, equaling out those Cloud Drakes. Of course, the Ocean and Infernal might be a little bit more coveted by the team. They have already picked those ones up as well, and 5,000 gold is close to the lead here for Legacy. OPL Legends looking in control this game. They did against their tiebreaker, in their tiebreaker against the Direwolves. The business end, they're looking to really take these ones as seriously as they possibly can.
Still a lot of damage though from AV. Like that item spike that Chenny has, it was just a time-based item spike, so he's got the Muramana.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of burst. They still have the scaling damage with 3 big items completed on triple. All he really needs is the Seraph's Embrace to be upgraded. That tier will be fully stacked. Paradise is huge. Chelby's a very big tank at the moment as well with that Randuin's. Denying crit from Jhin means he can bear the brunt of all of that damage and will be a frontline force. AV still have a lot of tools there, but they just didn't win laning phase, and feels like one of AV's major strategies is having that laning phase won.
And of course, having Paradise win his laning phase is often the requirement at the same time. He certainly didn't at this point. Legacy now setting up vision around this Baron, but Rift Scuttler was taken by Chelby. So of course, immovable vision. Nice knock-up onto Carbon here as Chelby goes in. True Shot Barrage finds Carbon as he has to flash to get out of the tether. Jake unable to lock him down, but big summoner spell now for Carbon.
Yeah, they also push them away from the middle lane. Choo-Choo's actually has to walk the long way to get there. And if they push this minion wave quickly enough, they will get a turret. But Legacy's response is less about defending mid, as you can see one attempt at it. It's more about pushing top.
Yeah, it's Paradise. He's going to get his attack speed increased as they take down this turret. Seismic Shove misses.
Or not.
There's the ultimate coming out of King, and they've got AV in a barrel right now. The bullets flying forward. Chenny gets slowed down. Nice shield to come out from Jake to try and get them out of here, but that Pillar's in a fantastic spot.
Oh,
the flash from Chelby there looking for the engages. Chenny gets himself out of the way, and Chelby just goes a little bit too deep. Double kill for Choo-Choo's as Chenny, the spear lands from Carbon, and he picks up the AD. Exhaust comes down. Petrifying Gaze is just a little bit too late, and Triple's going to die. Paradise, last man standing as he's defending the top lane, but doesn't even save the inner turret.
And he's stuck in the 1v1. Basically, Legacy just commanding Summoner's Rift. It took them 27 minutes to turn it on, but at the 30-minute mark, they don't look like slowing down. If Paradise steals this, it's not with an ultimate.
Yeah, it doesn't have the wind slash available to him. Pillar flies through, and Paradise says, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. A smite takedown. It's pretty powerful out of Carbon as well. I don't think the burst would have been rivaled by a Ribbon.
It's really hard to say gets the no button because it's always the yeah nah button. We do get to see this again. Chelby gets bursted out by a Duskblade, and as he dies, almost gets a kill from the Jin W. There's a spear during the remaining tool. And watch this turnaround from both Choose and almost Kuden. Triple doesn't get the stun onto the Talia. Very well played once again from Legacy. They are actually collapsing from flanks as well with a Jin composition. And that's uniquely powerful simply because he's able to hit the backline because he's on a flank.
Yeah, and also, it got to the point where Legacy had two members towards the top of that curtain call, and AV had nowhere that they could go safely and just had to eat every single bullet.
Yeah, Chelby's fight or flight response was definitely fight.
Oh yeah.
He was the only one who really could communicate that exact same thought, however. AV on the back foot, because that gold lead has just grown immensely.
Exploded. 10,000 gold now for Legacy, who are making a statement in game number 1 of this best of 5. Carbon in trouble, however, and Chenny does find the kill. Really nice Ezreal play as the Weaver's Wall gets Chelby out of position. The subjugate's there from Kuden. He's tanking up a lot as Paradise does make his way in. Decent positioning, but my god, another Pillar's fantastic. Triple gets the ultimate, but it's a triple kill for King. The Jin's untouched in the backline, going ballistic. Well, not untouched, he's down relatively low, but he's just so safe. They're able to turn this into a turret.
Yeah, that 10k gold lead wasn't reflected by what the Baron's also able to give them, and so the Nasha buff comes up huge, as well as their damage and execution on teamfight. We're starting to see Chu's mastery of Talia actually reign supreme right now.
Yeah.
And Legacy, for a game 1, that experience actually proving invaluable.
It's fantastic. We are going to see this one again, though, as Chenny Boy does get himself a good kill.
And it starts with Carbon dead, so that's the crazy thing. Chelby's a tank, but he's not that tanky, unfortunately. Even King hitting the backline opposed to Chelby, he's able to just walk in and take one. The Pillar as well from Kuden is sick, and whilst the Cassiopeia ult stuns this time, it still feels like it's too much of an afterthought. They're never using it to start fights off and follow up with damage from the cast. It's always a too little too late factor.
And that was a slight misstep from King as well, of course, walking very far forward into triple. But Kuden's Pillars just kept King immeasurably safe. Yeah. Paradise just could not get on top of him.
He's on point with the Pillars at the moment. Outstanding performance from Legacy's support. He's a quiet guy.
Yeah.
The mechanics speak louder than words. As triple, it's a bit awkward, honestly.
Yeah, a bit awkward. As you can see, the Weaver's Wall does go underneath regular walls. Nailed it.
They're just getting poked out now.
Yeah.
Jin ulti, Nidalee spears, Talia's damage in the Trundle Pillars. Legacy's 4v4 team composition is really starting to shine. There is no answer from AV besides a hard engage, but with a Riven, I really do challenge that pick.
Well, this Infernal Drake is going down extraordinarily fast. AV were looking for a potential steal as Chelby tries to get in there, but can't do it. He just explodes to King's damage. Paradise in trouble as well, and he's going to die to the Duskblade King. Another series of kills here as Tally leaps forward, has the exhaust down as Chelby's just going to get obliterated. Talia picks
Jake
up that kill as Jake's going to get stunned. King grabs a triple. Is legendary now on the Jhin. As Legacy will now push forward. Looks like the inhibitor is in their sights.
At the very least, an inhibitor will be seen. The minions crashing on the bottom side of the map gives them availability for what seems like 2 inhibitors at the same time. Only Chenny standing. What is in the in the water at the Legacy house?
I don't know, man.
None of them get stunned by castles. They're all just mechanically just outplaying triple.
Well, I tell you what, King has certainly had a heck of a lot of Weet-Bix this morning. I believe we've had a discussion about how many Weet-Bix a manly man eats. I think King, he could tell us exactly how much he's supposed to consume, because this guy's going off.
We worked out it was relative to the size of the bowl. A full bowl is a manly amount of Weet-Bix.
All right, got it. If you just can't fit any more Weet-Bix in, you're doing it right.
Exactly.
For a rough number, I'm going to go with 17, because this guy's 804.
Yeah, there you go, 17. That's a big bowl.
Also has no relevance to the numbers that I just read out as well, so riddle me that. But Tally, he's got 4 items, so he's gigantic at the same time. 0, 1, and 8, so has been sitting in that split push, but the fact that they've nullified Paradise is all he really needed, and there's the Equilibrium Strike that comes down. Stun comes in there too. Weaver's Wall means that no one can go anywhere. Look at all those structures set up to try and stop him as Triple out of vision range. Curtain Call doesn't find him, and one of the bullets held onto by King.
Yeah, and as if the Trundle Pillar wasn't enough, a Weaver's Wall actually just closes the door and slams it shut. Chelby out of position, just gets closed in on. And that was with his summoners up. He should have flashed safely. And now Legacy threatening in a 4v5 for 20 more seconds with the last remaining turrets on the top side of the map.
My god, King now with 4 items built up, Infinity Edge being one of them, as well as the Rapid Fire Cannon. This guy does so much damage. You can see those 1,000 damage plus crits coming in, and that turret just gets stomped. And now, of course, with the Primal Surge coming in, that is a flat damage buff to King in that duration.
Certainly is. They break the turret. Now they're looking towards the last inhibitor.
Spear is dodged there by Jake, but AV holding on by the skin of their teeth right now. Every bullet is meaningful. Spear lands as Paradise is fighting Tally, but he gets the 1v2. Chelby in trouble as well, as Chu's looking to lock down the members of AV. Deadly Flourish avoided. Chelby has to flash, and AV relegated to their Nexus turrets. Carbon launches forward, deletes the supporters. Triple trying to find Chus, but he can't. King takes down Chenny in an isolated 1v1, and Triple cannot get the damage down. Legacy get themselves a clean 4 kills. And Chelby now has to sit on the fountain and wait for it to all be over.
A clean 4 kills and only 4 kills for the opposition team as well. It may have taken them 36 minutes, but that's a convincing Game 1 closeout by Legacy. They never looked like slowing down.
Yeah, and from the minute 1 as well, this team had control. You can see Paradise on your screen right now. Of course, this is a best of 5 series, so we have got plenty of time. AV, a lot of opportunities now to reset and not pick Riven.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think we will readdress when we get into the next champion select as well. But draft could have been a concern. Play style as well, maybe not respecting the 6.15 patch changes.
Yeah.
The first blood turret and Tally snowballing the game. There's a lot of positives at the moment that Legacy, they can just walk away with. But AV, they need to hit the drawing board and actually reassess.
Yeah, and understand exactly what you need to be doing in this early game now as well, just because you do really want to be rushing these turrets down or defending if people are going to be sending 4 members towards that top side. And that 5-minute mark, such an important point in the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. So AV need to once again start showing some respect and adapting, most importantly, to what was thrown at them. If AV can actually meet that adversity and find success, then we will still definitely have a series on our hands. But as far as Game 1 goes, that was pretty clean from Legacy.
Most certainly was, and it feels like it was a relative shutout from an early stage, and AV now have an opportunity to make sure that doesn't happen again, get themselves to a late stage that they're happy with, and put Paradise in a position to win at the same time, which is the most important. But we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the first game in this best of 5.
Thank you, Atlas and Rusty. Well, that is Game 1. Legacy tying up that first game 1-0 in the series. Let me start with you, Spawn. It was a frenetic start to the game. We saw 5 minutes in some pretty crazy lane swaps, right?
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, we go to standard lanes, and I mean, Frost, I know that you're really interested in the King Kuden versus, Chenny as well as Jake down in the bottom lane. We did get the first blood down there. And, it was aggressive play, but what really interested me after that is that they went into this diverse strategy where, you know, they recall at 5 minutes on the dot, they get rid of the fortification, they send 5 members top lane. And to me, that's such a ballsy call. I mean, if you don't get the turret, if you don't transfer it into a Rift Herald or something like that, if they're able to 3-man repel, you just get so much like wasted farm across the map. That was really interesting out of Legacy. I like that they were willing to throw that curveball, but I don't think it's necessarily going to work out in the next couple of games.
Yeah, the scary thing about this is this idea that it can be telegraphed, like you said. Like, if you know that 5 minutes the fortifications are going to come down, they're timing their backs, suddenly 5 people have gone missing on the map, chances are that they're going to be top lane. It's very easy, like you said, to rotate your support, rotate your jungler. It's suddenly it's a 3v5 scenario that early on in the game. It's very hard to dive a tower to look for a kill there. We also had this question that because it was Cloud Dragon, so what they did is they roamed up 5-man top. They were trying to get the first blood gold on the tower, which they did get. They were also trying to pick up the kill gold on finding Paradise on the Riven, which he was managed to get away, and then rotated into the Rift Herald. On the other side of the map, it was actually a Cloud Dragon. So the question is, you know, if that's an Infernal Drake, is that still worth, and will we see that continue to be the trend for these teams?
And the other thing that really interested me is they picked the Riven, and that's a gauntlet. I mean, Riven doesn't seem much competitive play. I mean, Paradise is a very good Riven player, but at the same time, Riven versus Aurelia has always been a really sucky matchup as soon as Sheen's picked up. When you used to max E, on Aurelia, you would have to match it with an E-Max on Riven as well because, you know, you just couldn't out-damage the burst. You'd have to try and absorb a lot of it and get away, fight for farm, you know, jockey for a level 13 engage, which is really awkward on Riven. So I do think that that was a overreach from Paradise in the 1v1.
I want to talk about group fights, but first, I think the big elephant in the room is what we need to deal with is Legacy's jungler Carbon did not pick up any Keystone Masteries going into this game. Now, is that we should talk about the background of this, right? It's just nerves, it's semi-finals, you're playing not at your computer, but you're playing right here at the OPL studio. So, you know, what's going on?
And to clarify, we give him time to set up. Yeah. So this is no one else's fault but Carbon. I mean, he was on stage doing a stage test. I was waiting for him to do an interview. Like, I was watching him do his rune setup. So, you know, he has everything there. This is just one of the things. A lot of people wipe their rune pages before going into games and reset it back up. I know that I do it as well. So, you know, just a little bit of, you know, nerves or maybe going through some things with his team, not thinking about himself. Very selfless man, Carbon.
He's got to organize everyone else.
He still absolutely destroyed the Rek'Sai, so who cares?
Yeah, that's really the underlining point. Is it's actually a pretty big deficit to come back from not having your mastery on Italy. You can see him struggling in the jungle, but
still able to,
like Jake said, he pretty much crushed Shelby. So.
Yeah. All right, let's talk group fights right now. We saw Legacy just dominate several group fights throughout the match. Jake, why don't you talk us through the one in particular you wanted to pull out?
Yeah, let's bring up the mid lane team fight. I mean, this is where Avant Garde think they can siege. No, this is not. This is a one in the jungle, so let's just take this one. So Carbon gets caught out as we roll this one in. So Carbon, a little bit over-aggressive here, and he does get punished by Chenny. But this is all about King, and, you know, we already mentioned he's incredibly fed. Great Weaver's Wall comes across. They isolate the matchup, and then it's the inability of Shelby and Paradise to be able to get on priority targets and layer their CC. And you can see Great Pillar coming out of Kuden there. I mean, it just stops up all the aggression. King's able to pick up the triple kill. But when you run Rek'Sai and Riven, and I'm really disappointed we didn't get the other one because it all is about getting the knock up into the stun, and then with grounded, the grounded passive from Cassiopeia underneath, because that means they can't flash away from you. They have to turn and fight, and Rek'Sai and Riven thrive in that chaos, but AV just never were able to coordinate it.
And also on the other side, how cool that composition is. I mean, you constantly saw Legacy fighting in those tiny little corridors. That really cool moment where they took the inner mid tower where the Weaver's Wall came across and it trapped Cassiopeia in that long little tunnel. It's like fish in a barrel. So it was very nice to see them continue to build off of the creativity that we saw when Minky was on the team and bring it out in the semifinals.
All right, well, that is our analysis of Game 1 wrapped up. We'll be back right after this with Game 2.
People say our games are like clown fiestas, but we're going to show people exactly what a clown fiesta is. We have a sort of messy style, but I mean, I think it works for us. That's the way we play, and it has won us the games, and we just need to sort of perfect it in a sense. Like use it to our advantage, which currently we haven't exactly done so, considering we lost to TM and Chiefs the recent weeks. But every team has their style, and that's our style. Coming to playoffs, AV are definitely the underdogs. Legacy, they've won OPL a couple of times, and they've been top 4 ever since I remember. Not to mention Chiefs and DW Direwolves as well. I know it's going to be hard for us, but I definitely don't think that it's not like we don't have a chance, because if they underestimate us, we will win.
Welcome back to the OPL first semi-final this split 2. My name is Michael Hingersing, and I'm joined here at the analyst desk by Jake Spawn Tiberi and Indiana Frostgren Black. Guys, let me start with that video we just saw from Chenny Boy. He's described himself, the AV style as messy, and he said, I don't know if you picked up on that, he said, look, we've got to stick with this and make it work for us, even though it hasn't really been working for us this split. Is that an interesting strategy? I mean, if you've got a thing that you have doubts about, why are you not changing it up?
I'm all for teams, understanding their identity. I definitely think that AV do have a good grasp on where they're strong, which is kind of their scrappy skirmish style. That said, this idea and definition of kind of the chaos style League of Legends, it's pretty much been kind of a buzzword that's been thrown around a lot. And I frankly have to say, anytime someone says we thrive in chaos or we have a messy style, that just tells me you have no idea what's happening on the map, that you just have to fight to win.
But at the same time, I've got really rough hands, so I'm not going to be a hand model anytime soon. So at least he knows that in that case he is.
All right, if you are following along on hashtag IamOPL, that is via social media, and I'm going to throw it over to Atlas right now, who's going to update us on what you're all saying.
Thank you very much, Hingers, and I once again am your conduit to the social media wall. As you can see, 57% now for Legacy after what was a commanding game number 1, but I, of course, know you guys. We're Oceanian. We want to be rooting for the underdog, so make sure you get behind AV at the same time. The Legacy Legion is most definitely out in force, but AV needs some of your love. And of course, we are going to read out some of these as well. Zoseph with that face when they call you mediocre. Hashtag LGC win. Choose, of course, reacting to Triple's callouts there in that prior video. As you can see on the side of Avant, we fall in game 1, but we are not out of it yet. Preparing for game 2 now, as of course Avant do need to make some changes. We'll see whether they can and whether that is going to influence you guys on social media as well. Back to you, Hingers.
Thank you, Atlas. All right, let's do some quick analysis before we hop into game 2. Frosky, let me start with you. You predicted before we went into game 1 that we're going to see a lot of cautious play because this is a new patch. That's kind of how things played out in terms of the AV style on that bottom lane. Do you think that's going to be the narrative for the rest of this best of 5 series?
I don't necessarily think it's because of the new patch. I think that Chenny Boy and Jake just play cautious. They play utility. That's what they've been. We have the Ash bands. They play Jhin. They play Sivir. They use Jhin as a utility AD carry as opposed to a hyper carry.
Right.
Ezreal Karma. They're just going to constantly play disengage, which is why I gave it to King. He's an aggressive AD carry. He's superior mechanically than Chenny Boy. He got to prove it last game, and as long as we have isolated matchups, King and Kuden will continue to run over Chenny Boy and Jake. They just have to survive. On the other side, though, Legacy, like Jake said, they played a massive gamble on 5-man top at 6 minutes 30 seconds.
I think that play, I'm just replaying
it's a
it in
crazy
my head
play.
over and over again, and there's just so much wrong with it. I mean, I love the tenacity, and I do like the ability to be able to pull it out. Generally, you see with Sivir comps, you would see something similar at about 9 minutes into the game, where the Sivir would go up there and run a similar play in standard lanes previously, but I just think that there's so much counterable from it. If Avant are going to win these games, they just need to isolate the map. I mean, they need to turn this into 1v1, 1v1, and 2v2 style League of Legends. And Shelby has to go back to his old style of League of Legends of, invading the jungle and keeping Carbon down. Carbon had way too much influence over the early game, and if they can actually play that style, I think that Avant, their pick ban to me, it was a very Avant pick ban. I'm not going to say I loved it. If any other team pulled it out, I would hammer them for it. But at the end of the day, this is how Avant play League of Legends, and it's about now keeping tabs on Carbon, making sure he can't do the same thing in game 2.
Well, Jake, you were speaking of Carbon, and earlier today you spoke to him. So let's check out your interview as we go into game 2. Let's see if we can pick up on any of those nerves which might have prevented him from picking up those Keystone Masteries in Game 1.
Hey guys, Spawn here with Legacy's captain and jungler, Carbon. Carbon, before we get into this week's game, want to ask about last week. Direwolves tiebreaker, behind, dive into the pit, pick up the Baron. How did it feel?
Yeah, it always feels good to get a Baron steal. It's kind of a running joke at the Legacy house. For years, my teammates have been telling me that smiting is actually 70-30 in favor of the team trying to secure because you can time the smite with your team's burst damage. But I've always told them it was 50-50, but usually it's 4 against 1 argument. But since we got a new coach who used to be a jungler as well, me and him always laugh about how they say it was 7-30. But yeah, it was a great moment.
All right, Soulstrike's helping out there in some of the household disputes. I do want to get your thoughts. Last time you played Avant in a final, a couple of years ago. I mean, you've got them again. This time you were a little bit more confident coming in?
I mean, we were confident last time. So, no, same amount of confidence. Look, I think as long as we do, as long as everybody plays their role, we should be able to come away with the W. But, look, land is always different. AV have made upsets before. They beat us already once this season. So, definitely not taking them lightly.
And you know, you're facing off against an old rival in Chelby. What are your thoughts on him as a jungler? He's been around for a while now, continuing to get better.
Yeah, Chelby's a interesting player. He kind of goes in and out. He has phases, I think. Sometimes he's really, really good, and then sometimes he just seems to fall off altogether. I think he's definitely having a bit of a purple patch at the moment. They've been definitely playing pretty well. He's been playing pretty well lately. But remains to be seen whether or not it'll be enough.
And of course, you're flanked by the 2 veterans in Tally as well as Choose. He's got 2 rookies pretty much on his team in Paradise and Triple. Is that experience going to come out in the end?
Well, we'll have to see. Like I said, land is always different, and it's all about how you can handle the land nerves. I mean, we've been to our fair share of rodeo, so I think we'll be all right. As for them, though, yeah, not so sure.
All right, of course, Legacy looking to add another notch in their belt after this one, guys. Don't stay anywhere. Legacy versus Avant is coming up.
Well, of course, Hingers, to answer your question, sounds like Carbon is absolutely fine. You just decided you didn't want any Keystone Masteries because they're for cheaters.
I mean, the last time that they played against each other, which is what he's saying, the same amount of confidence, there was a quote from Carbon saying that if Chelby comes into my jungle, I will fight him. And I don't think that's changed, even without the Keystone Masteries that he may have accidentally missed there. Not going to be an intentional thing moving into the second game, I would expect.
Yeah, but still able to farm out an absolute storm there as well. And the Nidalee did not affect his play whatsoever as we jump straight into Champ Select for game number 2 of this semi-final match between AV and Legacy. Legacy now on our red side as AV pick up the blue. And Trundle going to be banned away first up. Malzahar and answer.
And as we move into this second game, the question was going to be to Avant, can they adapt to what Legacy have thrown at them in the face of adversity? Banning the Trundle is actually something that I really do like.
Yeah.
It was very much a standout performance from Kuda, and he stepped up to the plate in this semi-final and went off. Does have the rest of the team backing him up. The Jin's an important one, but because they're on blue side, I'd say their preference actually lies towards picking it opposed to banning that one away. So instead, they choose Talia.
Yeah, Talia going to get banned. Gragas once again going to be banned. Of course, Legacy banned at game number 1. Now Avant removing it on their blue side as well. Aurelia? Could be an option. Bard, of course, was another ban that came out in the last game, and actually would be a nice first pick option there. Answers to the Jin and lanes well with him, but Jin is going to be banned here from Legacy. We'll see what AV decide to go with as Braum picked up immediately by Jake.
Yeah, so the first inkling that we mentioned of the Jin being a standout carry, King was legendary in that game. Legacy ban it away because they know for a fact that Chenny will lock that in the first rotation. Even a safe one here from AV, going for a Braum. Not revealing any kind of strategy as a well-rounded and sculpted champion. They do give over the obvious Cassiopeia and another one.
Yeah, and no Talia to be picked into this Cassiopeia as well, and Choose has definitely shown that he's fantastic on it. Carbon picking away the Rek'Sai. I think it's the same first-round picks that AV went for on their red side.
Yeah, it definitely is. Lots of adaptation still to be seen, though, from AV, because these are, whilst it's basically AV's first draft, AV banned away a lot of Legacy's champions. They're now saying the gauntlet's yours to throw.
Yeah.
What are you going to bring out? Because we're bringing out what you played.
Yeah. See whether they can do it better on the side of Legacy. As AV do have the opportunity to go for something like an Aurelia if they want to. I would love to see Ashe out of Chenny Boy as well, the Ashe Braum lane, something that I'm definitely a fan of. The mustache lane that Frostgreen does like to call it. Brilliant. As Hecarim being looked at, of course, has seen a few nerfs to that Q. Not quite as much damage, but still, he's a majestic horse.
And I mean, you put him with a Sivir, or a Karma, still going to be a big deal. Yeah. Fortunately, Braum's there, so it would be the Sivir if any AD carriers. They have locked away a strong champion for triple.
Yeah, and Legacy can go for the Sivir and Karma right now if they wanted to. Pick that away from this movement speed-based composition around the Hecarim.
Yeah, and provide move speed to a Rek'Sai and a Cass who need that speed to lock you down. Of course, move speed for Lion champions of their own respects.
Yeah.
Not a bad pick overall if they did commit all into a Sivir Karma style of lane. Bard's always there as a playmaker though if he wants to match his Trundle utilities from game number 1. Into the Braum, it's not ideal, but it definitely is still serviceable.
Now, Legacy currently looking at a few different options at the moment. But I would love the Bard. Of course, Bard and Ezreal, something like that here for King. Really strong level 1 presence.
I worry about the Ezreal being a pick. I'd say Lucian's more of King's style.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like the Sivir where you can still carry.
There it is, Prophet Rusty. Pokes his head out one more time, and that is going to be exactly the bottom lane picked up by Legacy.
That was a really prolonged one as well.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like they took some time to register that that's what you said and went, oh, okay. Yeah, no, Lucian Bard sounds like a good choice.
No, they have locked it in, however. It's very strong for them as individual players, and it does fit into the team quite nicely. Any low-ranged AD carry having a Cassiopeia with it is all about empowerment for the AD carry. So King, being Lucian, can stand directly behind Choo-Choo's and feel safe about it.
As well as, I just love Tempered Fate. And then the Cassiopeia just wanders up to that group of people and sprays their face with Petrifying Gaze, which is just a heck of a lot of damage even if they don't get stunned, as Chenny does lock away the Ashe, and now Paradise looking for the Echo and locks it in towards the top side of the map. Oh, do it, Tally. Don't be scared.
That would be so far past disrespect that I really don't think he would do it. Noting that champions like Aurelia are still there, which will do well into the Echo, or at least reasonably well into the Echo.
Yeah, he locks it away. No reason not to go towards it. And I find it interesting that Paradise isn't picking away the Aurelia himself.
Yeah, Paradise, of course, a standout Aurelia performer, also has a great Fiora there. Lots of carry champions are available to him, but instead he's reverting to the Echo that was quite successful throughout the split. He has been a big player when he gets that Echo, but it is a big question mark. I mean, they've got a nice composition to work around if the Ashe Arrow connects. They've got follow-up crowd control from the Braum, from the Echo stun, even the Azir and the Hecarim to an extent. But at the moment, what I'm seeing is objective control as a composition, but a lot of their focus is on killing Choose, and he's immediately swapped to Cleanse.
He most certainly has. Of course, you see an Ashe, generally you pick up that Summoner spell. But I'm interested in how Paradise is actually going to play this Echo as well and how he's going to build him. Is it going to be the AP Echo that we did see out of the guy? Massive carry potential, didn't win the game, but did do incredibly well in his lane. Or are we going to see something like, Proto-Belt Trinity Force, which is extraordinarily fun and does a whole lot of weird things.
And pretty good at the moment. Trinity Force Echo is starting to see more play. It means he can be a happy medium between carry and tank if he chooses to build tanky afterwards, similar to the Aurelias that we're now seeing on Summoner's Rift with Build Path. That availability is there. AV's team composition is very much a pick and follow-up based composition, but again, I think their best bet is having Legacy come to them so they can set up that crowd control.
Yeah, as well as the fact that AV have a heck of a lot of carry threats on their side. I mean, you include Hecarim in that conversation. Hecarim and Echo, that dive threat on the backline, terrifying.
Also quite good at getting past the Cassiopeia stun when you think about it. The Hecarim ultimate goes through everything.
Yeah.
And is quite dangerous if you're going to be king.
Most certainly does, as we do hop onto Summoner's Rift for game number 2. AV champing at the bit to try and get out of that fountain. Chelby, of course, very thematically correct as far as that saying is concerned. You can see him galloping up the mid lane.
Is that the headless one?
Can't see. Can we have a zoom in, please, Mr. Observer?
Chelby, just turn around and we'll just...
A little bit more. Come on.
He's moving too much. I really can't tell.
Yeah, well, Legacy actually in the brush here. Almost the stun from Kuden, but doesn't find it onto Chenny. Good Winter's Bite onto King. Almost very dangerous.
Yeah. Still making moves against standard lanes as expected.
Whoa, yeah. Flash comes out of Jake to get himself out of the way. Chenny gets poisoned as Choose makes his way down. Early Summoner spell out of Jake, though.
Yeah, they get the flash out. Jake, usually in situations like this, AV would say, well, we lane swap now. We're done. We'll just call that a day. We'll go get turrets. My flash will be back up after the 2 turrets fall anyway, and then we'll reset again. But you don't want to do that on Summoner's Rift anymore, because if you give Legacy the option to push bottom lane, They will take the turret before you. They will get that first blood gold on the turret, and they will snowball Tally on the Aurelia again, which you have to highlight is the most important lane for Avant Garde because they want Paradise going.
They most certainly do. It's decided to go for the Doran's Ring Start as well, so no Corrupting Potion to answer Tally. We'll have a couple of potions to his name. It does opt into having a bit more AP in the early stage.
Yeah, he only has 19 AP total though, so isn't going into the AP realm with his build.
Yes.
He's just getting that sustain from the mana regeneration as well, something that a Gangplank can occasionally do.
Oh yeah.
If you really want to.
I feel like that's the hipster Gangplank build. It's like, yeah, I can build AP on a champion.
It goes well with Corrupting Potion.
Yeah.
Also increases your heal on the W, I think.
Perfect. There's worse things. Well, now you can see mid lane, bit of a farm fest. Should be noted that Triple will be able to stand up to some of the consistent damage that Choose can put out. But both of them taking cleanse in this lane as Triple does not want to get stunned by that Petrifying Gaze.
He's going to miss the minions as well, completely pushed off there. Tally having a bad time.
Yeah, passive procced there by Paradise towards the top side. So that alliteration was definitely an accident. King and Kuden getting the push here on this bottom side of the map, but even on farm, Kuden's just harassing Jake out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of similarities between these teams. We already said it's really important for Paradise to be ahead. The same thing goes for Tally, who's currently struggling. Because if Tally's behind, then it feels like one of Legacy's biggest win conditions is actually just gone for them. It's like Carbon's even posturing to the top side as King.
Yeah, Shelby's on the bottom side of the map. Good exhaust comes out as Chenny Boy looks for the auto, but doesn't do enough damage. The tower, oh my goodness, close to killing him with the help of Kuden. But AV, don't lose anyone in that attempted dive.
And of course, Warlord's Bloodlust and the potion is going to be there for Chenny, so he'll be fine in this lane. But early differences between game 1 and 2 at the moment for AV's bottom lane. They died, remember, in game 1.
Yeah.
This time around, they've got control, and Toby's the one to actually switch it up and come bottom.
And I mean, you may look at that and say, well, didn't get a kill. This is, you know, not going to be a big deal for Legacy, but King had to go back. He's now 12 CS to 20. This is huge for Chenny Boy, who wants control in this lane.
Yeah, it definitely is. He will go back himself, Chenny, and unfortunately the difference in farm's never going to amount to anything when it's this low of a value. But it's still the experience advantage, control of the lane, and early pressure, which means momentum as well for AV in that 2v2. Carbon, yet to have a presence, just goes back to base because he can't get any ganks off.
Yeah, just couldn't find Paradise. It was sitting in that brush for so long. As you can see, Tally evens out that farm very nicely. 26 now to 14 with this wave heading towards Paradise.
Yeah.
And you can see Legacy actually have quite a lead in to the tune of about 500 gold. And that is all to do with this mid lane, where Choose is honestly tearing apart Triple in that farm.
And it all started at level 2 where he completely zoned him off minions. And I feel like Choose heard that interview and said, mediocre, huh? I'll show you. He's doing well at the moment.
He certainly is. Tally actually turning things around on Paradise. Takes a cheeky turret shot.
Just trying to push it in. Reset. Don't allow any freezes to be seen. That's an early blue buff for Choose.
Oh dear.
They are accelerating his strength.
Certainly are, as Paradise grabs himself a shield. Parallel convergence. Running low on the old mana though. Tally evens out on health with that hit and style.
Yeah, good moves from Tally actually.
Yeah, really good. Gets another Blade Surge over the top as well as Paradise actually puts himself back in. Nice movement speed from the passive.
Guess who's here?
Yeah, Shelby looking for it. Is seen by the minions and Tally flashes in the right time. And Shelby knocks him away.
You've got to love that interaction
It's
as
so
well.
weird.
Every time that you flashed from a Hecarim, it'll knock you in the direction you just flashed towards.
Yep.
So he's able to get out safely. Has a teleport and will come back to lane with an aggressive item choice once more. In that Sheen, you'd look at Shelby and say perhaps they want to threaten again. Really unrealistic given that he has no health and mana of his own. And so Legacy's top laner gets the farm. Everything will reset.
Paradise actually opting in for the double Doran's Ring and a Ruby Crystal. We'll see whether that Ruby Crystal is going to go to a Phage or whether he decides to go for something like a Proto Belt.
Yeah,
both
early
impossible.
AP. Yeah, both entirely possible. I should say not impossible. That's not true. You'd expect Trinity Force.
Oh, I'd be excited about one, most definitely, as I believe I've made that one relatively clear. Chenny Boy farming out quite nicely here against King, 39 to 41, as these minions will get picked up pretty easily. Jake helping out there with his Relic Shield. And this bottom lane doing much better for AV. It has been, I guess, a point of the map that we've been talking about for AV as not being their point of carry.
And the best part about it doing better is it's not winning, but it's not losing. And that's why it's doing better. And that's really all that AV want from Jake and from Chenny.
Yeah.
It's just to survive. Just hold on for dear life. Keep swimming. Get towards late game where their utility is going to be avidly used. And with an Ashe Braum, that's picturesque for AV. Right now it comes down to Paradise, Chelby, and Triple and what they can actually get done. But there is a trade-off right now where Legacy's other lanes, where AV are usually strong, aren't winning.
Yeah. Triple especially is a big question mark on a champion that he's historically done extraordinarily well on in this Azir. We'll see whether it's going to get turned around, whether Chelby can farm himself up to a point where he can help out. But Choose, now level 7, will be able to stop the Hecarim in his tracks. Yeah. He does come looking for a gank.
And we already highlighted how AV win this game and how their top lane's important, how they've got a lot of damage and utility where they can make pit compositions. But Legacy at the moment, and to me, are going to revolve a lot around very similar concepts. They have a Cassiopeia and a Lucian. They will destroy neutral objectives. Shelby now looking top lane.
Yeah, stun doesn't come down from Paradise, but there's the ultimate out of Tally. Chenny,
oh my God.
What the hell? Tally turns it around and picks up the kill. It's a 1-for-1, but you'll take that if you're the Aurelia.
He almost got a stun off and lived as well. That's well done from Tally. Almost too well done from that Aurelia. They get a 1-for-1 trade in a situation where Carbon now has control. He can pick and choose where he'd like to go.
Yeah. With that Rage Bar up to full health, as you can see it. The gank's actually coming in. We are going to have a look at Tally falling down, as Triple did get himself out with the flash.
And the tower shot is the big deal there. Chelby used the ulti just a tiny bit too far.
Yeah.
The smallest details mean the biggest deal.
Unbreakable comes down. The flash from Chenny Boys comes out from Kuden as well. Exhaust goes down. Legacy are able to get out, but Summoner spells burnt. Both King and Kuden.
3 summoner spells total from Legacy, 2 from AV, and both are Chennies, which means Carbon can come down there and look for the Ashe. However, I don't think they needed the exhaust, and he'll use it at the same time from Legacy, as that's a move.
Yep, but Triple doesn't actually find it. Parallel Convergence comes down, avoided by Choose as the Petrifying Gaze stuns up the Echo. He's still able to get the kill, and has the ultimate if needed. Chelby this time isn't going to die to the turret, and AV get one back.
Fancy feat from Choose, though. Does force a lot used from AV to even find a kill, but they get it. That's the important detail. Unfortunately for AV, Triple doesn't pick it up, so still actually a little bit behind in that middle lane. Paradise, though, 2-0, the recipient of the gold, now starting to creep ahead.
Well, this is good news for AV, as we are going to see this one again. A little bit of a comedy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Unfortunately for Choose, the stun didn't connect onto Chelby as well. It was just the damage and the slow. Also didn't flash at the right time. I think he could have maybe dodged the parallel convergence and flashed off the Hecarim to get a boost to safety. Doesn't work out perfect, but very close too.
Certainly does. Doesn't create a lot of space here for Triple, however. 71 to 88 in that farm. Choose doing extraordinarily well. A lot of it has to do with just Choose being good at farming on Cassiopeia.
I mean, at 10 minutes, 90 farm, pretty good. He's had 2 blue buffs throughout that time as well, so it's expected, honestly, that he will win mid lane. Things have gone how Legacy have anticipated, except for that bottom lane, perhaps, where they are basically just even. Barely lived a couple times now, though. And Carbon just hasn't got anything done.
Well, Arrow just going to whiff past Kuden, but he doesn't have flash. He is going to get focused here as Jake gets stunned up by the Tempered Fate. Shelby has to watch out as teleport was cancelled, but Carbon's going to be in here. Ultimate comes down, doesn't find Kuden with it, but King gets knocked up. Still able to take down Chenny as Carbon now going to be stunned. Jake now has to make his way out, but Magical Journey gets Legacy to relative safety, and Triple can't finish off the Lucian. Legacy play it out beautifully.
King could have taken the Magical Journey and not lived with 10 health, but he lives with 10 health.
Yep.
The big difference between that fight right there is simply the smallest of health bars. And just like that, Legacy turn it on.
They do. Meanwhile, Tally on the top side of the map as well. Ultimate comes out from Paradise, but he's come to the wrong side of this lane. Timewinder comes in, so Tally will be slowed. Can't get the kill on the Echo, but that is definitely message received.
It's a Sheenan advantage, and the burst between the two is just substantially different. We do get to see how this one kicked off, and King actually thought the ult was going for him. Turns out it was Kuden. A creative decision, honestly, from the side of AV, because Chenny just walks a bit too far forward. Good dodge from Carbon on the Braum ulti, actually, to flash over it and put down the damage. And this is where King gets overconfident, looks for that extra kill, didn't realize he'd do that much to Chelby, and almost dies himself.
And you can see now Legacy went for that Mountain Drake, however, pull off it as soon as AV come around. Still don't want to push their luck here in game number 2. But once again, they have this early lead.
Yeah, and it's only so minute as well. Thankfully for AV, this time around, Paradise is big. Last time, they turret swapped at 5 minutes 30, 6 minutes roughly. They took a turret, they got a kill, they accelerated the game, Legacy, and then they just completely closed it out. And
yeah,
it's really choked AV out. This time around, they've got availability, they've got movements there, they're being proactive with the Ash Arrow and the ultimates. They're starting to rotate and move. They're warmed up.
We'll see whether they are going to make any aggressive moves as far as taking down turrets are concerned, as Kuden, really nice stun, but Unbreakable comes in and Kuden magical journeys his way out to avoid getting stunned by the concussive word.
That's the kind of thing where if I was Chenny, I'd just throw the arrow at King. And Kuden just went way too far forward when there's a Braum door up. Asking for it. Like, they're playing with their luck.
Yeah.
Quite forward and openly. And that's a risk, because if Chelby's ever there, they can't counter gank, which right now they can't, because there's no teleport on Tally. Then they ask her to die.
Well, speaking of a dive onto Tally, he is going to have to deal with this top lane and jungle from AV, and this time it's successful. But it's going to mean a dragon on the side of Legacy.
To contrast the differences between these games once more, and you are seeing it. AV's win strategies revolve entirely around Paradise and getting him going, and then having triple involved, having Chelby fed as a byproduct of Paradise being big.
Yeah.
And then Chenny and Jake come into play and start making these movements. They're fine. They're just farming it. Maybe 20 CS in a kill now. AV's bottom lane are still not losing, and that's a win for them. Paradise now 2-0-1, almost at his Trinity Force, is still going to be a big deal because Chelby's up there making sure that he is going to be that carry. And now this horse, 1-1-2, may not look that great in scoreline, but is still a monster.
Most certainly is, and has the Cinderhole completed as well. So it's not just the fact that he has this longsword built up. He wants to be tanky here in the early game.
The crazy thing to really outline, though, is that Carbon's gone Sightstone in his build, so he's a bit behind in his item spikes, but he's meant to have control as we've got a Suicide Penguin.
Whoa!
Oof.
Whoa!
That was a missile penguin. That was
insane. Whoa, I want to see that again. Can we have a replay? That'd be great. Paradise and Shelby looking to try and take down this Rift Herald, and it's looking like a little bit of an echo from game number 1 as far as the blue team picking up that first blood turret. Don't know what you're going to call it. Yeah, okay.
Turret
goes
first
down.
blood.
Paradise picks that one up. So we'll see whether AV now with this top lane pressure are going to be able to utilize it.
Yeah, turret first blood is what we'll call it. I
Yeah,
believe that is what it's
probably
titled
better,
to be. So again, though, that Rift Herald goes to AV there, pulling the opposite of number 1 here in the second. Looking quite powerful.
Yeah.
And it really does come back to the point that I was going to say until Penguin missiles were rudely interrupting me in the best way possible. As a Sidestone Rek'Sai is not controlling Chelby at all. He is still an effective ganking jungler.
Yeah.
He's on that Hecarim, can move around really quickly, and is getting it done. That Sidestone has done nothing but put Carbon behind, unfortunately, in this early game. Of course, it will still have its relevance as we get to mid-game and late game around objectives, but getting there is now harder for Legacy.
We can see Tally, he's going back, has a 27 CS lead, which is definitely good news. Grabs himself some boots, Ruby Crystal. We'll see whether he's moving towards something like a Randuin's Omen as item number 2 to get tanky straight away. As Carbon's now looking for a gank here towards the bottom side. Not a lot of vision available for AV, but Carbon finds it. Good Pink Ward comes in and takes it away immediately. Shelby just cantering towards the Rek'Sai. The knockup does have to be good as he takes a fair bit of damage. Yeah, immediately with the teleport as Triple causes the cancel.
Yeah, that teleport was super aggressive. There's no Drake to take as a result of the teleport. And Paradise now has an advantage in that respect. And so if AV make a play, they can just go.
Yeah, well, Arrow's going to come in, so AV definitely making a play. Kuden uses the flash, but gets knocked out of his magical journey, takes it again. Shelby launches over with the ultimate as Paradise is looking for King. Uses his ult to get himself out. Tempered Fate locks up the turret as Choose now uses the cleanse, gets out of the way, kills Chenny Boy, and is kiting this one beautifully. Carbon right on top, and Shelby going to get taken down. Double kill comes in, make it a triple for the mid laner of Legacy, and yeah, not mediocre.
Not at all. They're still going and looking for Paradise. This will be interesting.
Yeah,
Probably not.
Gets a cute little stun from the parallel convergence and gets away. But my goodness, this Snake Lady, pretty damn big.
Yeah, Choose is popping off at the moment. That's a big deal. King, unfortunately, just got killed by Kuden, who used his ultimate on the turret, and King's natural fight or flight response to the Tempered Fate was to dodge it. You will see this and how it comes down negatively. Shelby misses the ult here. Does damage, but it also knocks him away because he hits the wall. This is the Bard ulti. Look at King. Like, well, awkward. He had nowhere to hide, nothing he could do. And this is where Choose actually steps up big and goes off. Gets 3 big kills at the end of this. They even give it to him.
Yeah, just cleans up. So goes back, will be able to grab himself the Morellonomicon now. We'll see what else he can get at the same time. Because that's a needlessly large rod and the completion of that item. He is huge. Monstrous.
Yeah, that could be a Seraph's Embrace or Archangel Staff, or it could just be straight into the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which would make sense given that he's against a lot of move speed heavy champions on the opposite side. You want to slow that Hecarim down, impede him in any way that you can. Also a really good pick into Hecarim in general is the cast.
Yeah, I like it. Also, this Rylai's Crystal Scepter for Choo-Choo's as a player, as we saw him kiting out so beautifully with that pick just before. Will only be aided by that item.
This is that moment where Legacy, they may only be a 3-man unit on the bottom side of the map, but they've also got a freeze now, only now being broken on the opposite side. Paradise has nowhere to go, nothing to do. That means he wants to look mid, because he has nowhere else to be. If Choose shows his due respects, he wouldn't be here.
Looking for Choose, who doesn't find the ultimate. Triple swoops in and grabs himself the kill. Chenny has to deal with the culling as Tempered Fate's going to lock up the Ashe. Of course, no turret here towards the bottom side as Carbon gets himself into position. Kuden takes it upon himself to kill the AD carry as King wanted to get another kill. Slight minimization comes in here as Tally was looking for Paradise. And Carbon over to the side. Shelby uses his ult to get himself over. Legacy get to safety.
Yep. AV are able to walk away. Legacy also, who are currently invisible, are able to walk away. That was a pretty crazy turn of events.
I forgot where I was.
We're still looking at a big King, but we're seeing overzealous moves from Choo-Choo's, not actually recognizing where Paradise could be, and perhaps that's not Choose, perhaps that's actually Tally, just not being too aware of it.
Yeah.
Carbon.
Sun turret, no match for him. He does have a Cinder Hog. You can see him burning down these minions as Choose utilizes his miasma and takes them down himself. And Archangel Staff was the option there, Rusty.
Yeah, wants to get that shield sooner as well, and against a lot of burst, I don't blame him. Speaking of, Paradise did a lot of damage there.
Oh yeah.
Given that he has the completed Trinity Force, he's starting to get a bit out of hand. Now 3-0-2. But this is the same thing as the last game, nearly all over again, where if Legacy get the teleport in, they get the 5v5, then they will still actually have an effective top laner. Paradise is just slightly bigger, and so that 1v1 could start to be impacted.
Paradise is going to come down to this dragon to help them take this one. Vision is there for Legacy as Tally does have teleport, but the dragon is going to be secured. Paradise locked up by the Cosmic Binding as the teleport is going to get surrounded. Tally was looking back there, but the ultimate flies down. The Aurelia unable to be stunned up for too long, however, and he's not dead yet. Double kill for King in the backline as Chenny is trying his best to kite, but he just can't do it. Triple takes down Tally in the end, but now has to run as the Hawkshot spots the entire Legacy roster. And they tear apart the Birdman. AV in shambles after that.
And all that Hawkshot reveals is the Legacy members beating down the rest of his team. Unfortunately, that fight was executed so much better by Legacy than AV. This is our 20-minute potential Baron kickoff here. It's a Cassiopeia. They have 1 million pink wards apparently in this area, and no one's going to be there to stop them unless they can actually get here in time. But they do it so quickly.
Yeah, so quickly. Mountain Drake, Cassiopeia. Yeah, good luck, guys, as Jake watches it go down. Magical Journey's taken by all 4 members of Legacy, and they get themselves out. That's a 4,000 gold lead now for our OPL Legends, who are taking control again in Game 2.
And the best part about this teleport should have killed him. The Hecarim doesn't knock him in the right direction because he immediately fused to Paradise. That took a long time, longer than it should have, to even look at killing Tally. That was an afterthought where Choose gets a flank and gets the ult off, and then just zones Chenny away. Triple's best option here is turn around, try his best to kill King. His best is never going to be enough. Now Legacy in the driver's seat once more.
Yeah. And Tally, he's happy to eat an arrow like that. Ionian Fervor is a ridiculously good passive for that. Paradise eats himself the culling, but heads back in onto King. King just kills him. He's got his 2-item spike, and he's just able to take him down.
King says not a chance, even has a bit of magic resistance to boot. And this Lucian is going huge at the moment. King, he's in a semi-final, but it feels like it's just another day for him.
4-1-4 as well. My goodness.
AV are trying to do the opposite here, though. They want to kill the Aurelia the exact same time, where it took 1 member of Legacy to deal with Paradise. They sent 3 down to potentially kill that Aurelia. And this is a Baron buff opposition that they're against here. So if AV make a move like that, they will immediately regret it with the standing gold available to Legacy.
Yeah. This outer turret looks to be the first option here, is of course. Whoa! Choose. Didn't have the cleanse up, so that arrow would have been a big deal. However,
yeah,
doesn't find it.
Barely missed it.
Yeah,
as well. I feel like that was just an accidental move to the side that just followed through there for Choose. Very lucky to be alive.
Yeah. Chenny, very close. Doesn't quite have any Essence Reaver or anything like that. Looks like he's going for the Infinity Edge second item for an earlier power spike on this Ashe. So won't have the CDR to get that arrow back off cooldown too quickly. It is level 11, so he's going to be up relatively soon.
Yeah. So that was a fair bit. And again, that's teamfight damage that Chenny's building towards. I do challenge that decision, strictly because more arrows would be more useful from the Ashe, given how it's going right now.
Yeah.
The King snowballing.
That's risky. Yeah, Chelby looking for an engagement. Goes down to half health against Legacy, or more than happy just to shoot the horse if he comes towards them.
Yeah, they will rinse and repeat that strategy with this Baron buff. Now threatening an inner, which means Choose gets a free mid lane turret all the while.
Yeah, well, there's a Tempered Fate as well as Carbon setting himself up for the knock-up. Good parallel convergence placement as Paradise is looking for the stun. Gets it on Tally and Carbon. Concussive blows are there. Triple having some free time as Kudin's in trouble, but it's 2 kills already. Paradise launches forward, grabs himself the AD carry. And it is going to be Legacy now looking for more. Choose makes his way in. The Emperor's Divide knocks Carbon and Tally underneath the turret as Jake with the door down. Carbon still looking for it as Tally launches his way in. Gets the triple with the Blade Surge and just wanders past the turret.
3 Qs, 3 kills right there for Tally, and Legacy at 24 minutes in this game and now breaking an inhibitor. There is still a bit of time on most members of AV besides the Ashe. I think it'd be risky to push past this point, but that's such a big move now. And that was without Choose there at the start.
Yeah, and that's set themselves up to try and grab a Dragon coming up next with this top lane inhibitor going down. So strategic move once again for Legacy, paying off. And King now has himself the QSS.
And dies with Summoners up. Like, that could have been entirely worse for AV if he lived for any longer. Good moves from Triple. He was positioned well in the team fight. They did the best they could. But Chenny barely existed. Once again, 0-4 as Ashe. King is exploiting him. And Legacy don't need Tally to be big. AV need Paradise to be huge. That Trinity Force Echo is just not tanky enough to combat the enemies of Legacy.
Well, Legacy don't need Tally to be big, and they're not going to be disappointed, I guess, because he is, regardless.
Absolutely.
Gigantic, 5-3-4, but you're right, didn't get the same help this game. Almost has his Spirit Visage. Randuin's Omen already completed.
And the crazy thing is, yeah, Tally is one of the bigger win conditions of Legacy. They don't need him to be big simply because Choose and King are now going huge as we hit the later end of our split.
Yeah.
Even now in the semi-finals, they're showing that 3 winning lanes, or at least 2 of those 3, is how Legacy to get to that mid-game and start just playing the map and working around strategies, objectives, and executing on them. This is no exception.
Certainly isn't. Infinity Edge now done for Chenny. So decent 2-item spike. Triple looking for his 3rd in the Void Staff, which will be very important. And Paradise wants to find a 2nd item. Has a lot of components, but this outer turret just brute forced. No more Baron buff, but Legacy don't worry about it. In Relentless Pursuit, Gets King out of the way of the arrow.
Yeah, just casually to the side there, dodging that Ash arrow. Chenny, unfortunately, as we mentioned, no cooldown reduction, so that arrow is not going to be seen for quite a while. And this coincides with the Drake.
Yeah, super minions moving towards the top side of the map as well. So Legacy understand too much pressure on AV. Can't contest this Ocean Drake and will fall down very easily.
9,000 is that lead at the moment.
Ridiculous.
In complete control, simply out of nowhere, just from team fighting better than AV. It felt like Avant Garde had control. They just lost it.
Well, of course, best of 5 series means that Avant will be 2 games in the hole if Legacy take this. It's very difficult to do that reverse sweep, as Chenny Boy probably needs to maybe not even stand underneath the turret. I feel like Tally doesn't care about that either.
Thankfully, Tally's gone, but that's not the lane for you, Chenny. Let's be blunt. If he ever pushed an extra wave, he'd die.
Yeah.
So he's showing his respects. But Paradise also now going top lane indicates that that's not changing. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There's that shot calling. Baron's up in a minute, so they should not be putting him elsewhere. Ash can't teleport.
And Tally certainly can. Paradise moves down here, exactly like you were saying. Now, Chenny looking for that top wave. Paradise still with the touch of the void. So we'll be able to do a fair bit of damage back to Tally, but
is that what it's called? I have no idea.
Void touched, I think, is the buff.
There.
I don't know.
Healthy Harold's helpful buff.
I didn't know it was Healthy Harold. I just thought he was just the guy that
he's
would vacate in 20 minutes.
He's a void giraffe puppet.
Void giraffe puppet. Got it.
Isn't that what Harold was?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about.
The fans. That Harold... No? Okay. This is a disaster.
Oh, it's fantastic. As King, he's got a Phantom Dancer.
I'm not sure you went to an Australian school.
Was it all I did? I've lived here all my life. As Paradise may have to ult himself out of this one, but doesn't get back over the wall. Phase dive's going to be there. As Legacy were looking about some sort of engage. Yeah, catches too. Jake and Paradise locked down. Decent position for Triple right now as he has Sand Soldiers in there. Good knockback from Shelby, but it's just not enough. Tally picks up one on the support, and Paradise super low. 3 dead now as King cleans up. And Triple running for the hills. Miasma comes through as King just flashes over the wall. Arden Blaze picks up a triple kill for the style points, and Chenny's running the wrong way.
That is ending the game.
Yeah, Carbon and Tally looking for it. Trinity Force going to help out, and the rest of the team's going to turn up.
Yeah, so they stopped the Ash from recalling. There's 4 people still dead from the side of Avant, and this looks like it's going to be the second game to Legacy.
Yeah, Kuden going to possibly sacrifice his life as Chenny Boy flashes into the red pit to take down the support, but it doesn't matter. Nexus dies one more time, and in 29 minutes, Legacy take down Avant for the second time.
That's upping the tempo this time around from Legacy, and they'd be feeling a lot better about this victory. It wasn't just through Tally, it was a team effort. King had a winning lane, and really that's just cross-map momentum now achieved from this Legacy roster. AV, we said they need to hit the drawing board. Well, they need to have a really good, hard think about this one, because they started it off by getting Paradise going, by playing to their strategy. They just never hit mid-game going.
Yeah, and the thing was as well is that Tally was never really kept down. He got a couple of ganks there towards the top side of the map, but went 1 for 1 in the first one.
Yeah.
Shelby fell down, and that was actually the Aurelia getting the first blood, so extra gold going into his hands, and he was set up.
And the thing that I'm always going to bring this back to when it comes to Avant Garde is how they actually play around the map. They've got a top laner who most of the time will win the 1v1, but Shelby ganks it. The difference in this game was more so to me the difference in mid, where Choose was going huge and Triple just really wasn't showing up to the same level that Choose was. If Shelby starts focusing there instead, snowball the Azir. It could be an entirely different ballgame from Avant, but they play to that old and effective strategy.
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to be effective as we move into the series. But for now, let's throw it back to the analyst desk to break down game number 2.
Thank you, Rusty and Atlas. That is game 2, all wrapped up. Legacy putting that together 2-0 now. Let's start with the context of this, right? AV were able to beat Legacy earlier in the split, but it seems like they are kind of really struggling tonight. Frosco, let's go with you. What do you reckon? Are they doing something different? Are they doing something the same? Are they just struggling? Is it Legacy stepping up? What's going on?
I think it's all eyes on Legacy right now. Truth be told, AV, they're playing a very similar game. You can see, you know, the idea, you know, constantly teleporting, trying to make those plays bottoms, but it's a failure of execution. Either the Ash arrow not missing or Legacy just outplaying them, particularly on that Cassiopeia and Choo-Choos. So I don't necessarily think this is AV, you know, slumping or dropping the ball. This is literally Legacy coming out of their slump and just playing up to the expectations that we've had as the most consistent team in the OPL.
Yeah, on top of that, I mean, Avant Garde are kind of put under the microscope in what is a best of 5 now.
Sure.
I mean, their teleport play this game was very poor. They weren't able to get anything out of their mid laner in triple. So I think that there have been some issues for a while. I mean, I was crying for them going into the tiebreaker to play more towards triple. I mean, you got to get him rolling. He's a big control mage player, and we all know if they don't get to 3 items, they just fall over and do absolutely nothing. It's the biggest weakness of the class. So I think that, sure, right now, no doubt Legacy is back to playing their best style of League of Legends, but I think that Avant are playing way too much towards their game plan. Sure, they're still looking for the 5v5, but they're not funneling resources correctly.
Well, let's compare Game 1 and Game 2. Did we see improvements from AV in this series?
I think that they got a better top lane matchup. Let's go with that first. I think that Echo did a heck of a lot better. They tried to transition it around the map well, but they just still made some sloppy errors in team fights.
And again, it just comes down to execution failure. The fact that Paradise did get ahead, that he had a TP discrepancy over Tally because Tally used his to get back in the lane. The fact that they tried to make the play bottom lane, but unfortunately, Channy Boy, we've seen Ash bans from him in the past, but we've also seen a ton of missed arrows.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing is they let through Bard, and Kuden is a really good Bard player, and one thing that Bard does is like kind of takes you to places no one else can. He's quite a magical character like that. You know, the journey was huge. So, but the reason that's really important is because in the gank where it should have been a numbers discrepancy, they ended up fighting a 3v2 and then a 2v1.
Tower, yeah.
And there was a turret there with like things going wrong, and then all of a sudden, you know, Choo-Choo's just shows up and cleans up the rest of the team. So I think that if that was, like, this is why I love Bard. He does things no other champion can do. So if that's any other champion, not Bard, that game goes so much better. But Bard, you know, he just stuffs it up for everyone.
And it's kind of this really cool trend now because we've seen 2 games back-to-back and 2 compositions from Legacy where it's really about how they're manipulated terrain and how they're manipulating and separating fights, you know, either with the Talia, with the Trundle, with the Bard now. Again, we saw really creative compositions coming out of Legacy earlier on in the season when they had Minky Well in the top lane filling in for Tally. And it's nice to see this just come to a head into a semi-final match.
And on that note, props to Legacy. I mean, they dropped Regret and picked up Kuden in a ballsy trade. I mean, Kuden was pretty much a Soraka main, and 2 games in a row now, dude's popped off. I mean, he's having an amazing final. Like, just credit to the young player. Gentlemen certainly stepping up to the occasion.
All right, well, we are now maybe potentially 1 game away from knowing who will be that first place in the final of the OPL Split 2. It is Legacy versus Avant Garde, and we're back with Game 3 right after this.
Finishing first feels good, but we still have to take it one game at a time. I, as a player, really enjoy finding the unique counters to stuff. Whenever something comes to the meta, like Na or Maokai, I'm not going to be playing those champions. I'm going to be finding the Yasuo counter to the Na or the Trundle counter to Maokai. I'm just someone who likes to find something that is a really strong counter, but no one knows how to play against. So I'm really comfortable in those matchups. My biggest fear coming to playoffs is I don't want to stuff up on stuff. I want to be the reason that we lose. That's not a really good mentality to have. You shouldn't be thinking oh, you should play really safe because you might stuff up. But that is one of my fears, and I don't want that to happen.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. My name is Michael Hingersing, and I'm joined here by Jake Sportiberi and Indiana Frusker and Black. We just saw Tally there giving a little chat to that camera, saying he doesn't want to be the reason they lose. I mean, he says it's not a good mentality. That's a terrible mentality,
Yeah,
right?
it certainly is. Good news for Tally, however. He's pretty much never the reason this team loses. This kid's amazing. When he was an AD carry, I remember having big props for him, and then he moved to the top lane and absolutely crushed the Chiefs in one of my first ever casts. And, it was beautiful to watch. And I think that Tally has just gotten better and better like a fine wine. He's still a young kid, but he's still getting better with age.
Definitely an established superstar. And I think the other notable thing that he said there was, trying to find the weird counter picks or try to find that 1v1 matchup. And I think it just plays into Tally's character and the career that he's built as a top laner, as this hard carry style. Yes, he can play everything, but if you isolate that 1v1 matchup, he can go toe-to-toe with almost anyone.
If you're just joining us, we're about to go into Game 3 of this, the first semi-final of OPL Split 2 of 2016. Before we do that, I want to get your guys' ideas. You've seen 2 games, these 10 players. I mean, let's pick out some individual masters who have been destroying in this series. Let me go to you first, Frosco. Who's your pick? MVP.
No offense against, because it's funny, most people would say Tally, hands down, anytime Legacy win a game, it's typically through Tally. But I actually feel that this is the first series where Tally really hasn't been a major factor. It doesn't help that he's across from Paradise, so we just gave him all that praise. It's definitely still deserved. But I think it kind of speaks to the form that Legacy are currently in right now. If I have to pick an MVP, I'm still going to go with King. I put my cards very heavily on King and Kuden in that bot lane. I said that they were going to be the key to victory in isolated 1v1 or 2v2 matchups.
Sure.
And I think King has just been playing phenomenal, had a great Jhin game. Yes, Kuden got the Legacy MVP in Game 2, but he's got a buddy right next to him.
Jake, you seem like you're in pain right now.
Yeah, honestly, I am. The Rusty somewhere as well, just screaming, because whenever all 3 carries are playing well, the jungler and support are doing something right. He is that's just a typical rule. And all of a sudden, you have a young man by the name of Kuden. I mean, his Trundle game was absolutely phenomenal. He was interrupting everything with those pillars. Trundle's an easy champion to play. Trundle to play perfectly is incredibly hard. There's so many small nuances in the kit. And then, to pick up something like a Bard, absolutely dominate on it. He had one mistake, which was his AD carry dashing out of his ultimate. So, his mistake was even King's mistake. So I'm giving it to Kuden. I think bottom lane is definitely carrying, but I'd give the man in the support position a lot of the credit.
All right, well, Legacy are up now 2-0 in this series, which means Avant have to win 3 games in a row if they're going to take this semi-final. I mean, it's do or die. This is a young team. They're feeling a lot of pressure right now. Frosco, what do they need to do to get back in this series?
Avant?
Yeah.
So, well, Cheney Boy and Jake have to survive. And yeah, I do agree. They need to survive, go back to the Ezreal, go back to the Karma, stay away. Unfortunately, Cheney Boy, they've seen the Ash ban. He can't connect with those arrows. He's not connecting this series. So take away some of that responsibility. And I think, like you said, go all in on Triple. He's another carry on the team. Stop putting all of your eggs in just the Paradise basket.
And, maybe this is why I stopped being a coach after about Season 2, but I'm just digging up cheese wherever I can find it. I mean, and Triple is Triple Cheese, so, I'm going to grab something from him, going to put him on the wonkiest champion in history and just see if he can pop off on it. One of his older school assassins I would like to see. I'm hoping for a pick comp, something like an Ahri in the mid lane, something like a LeBlanc. Just see if you can isolate certain parts of the map and pick them apart, because right now the 5v5 isn't working, so just go back to very old school solo queue style League of Legends.
All right, well, as we get ready to throw to our casters and into Game 3, let's take a look at this video.
Dials are just in the way. Legacy, that's the real target.
Finishing first feels good, but we still have to take it one game at a time.
If they underestimate us, we will win.
No matter what happens, no matter what team I play on, I'll always be in it to win it.
Whew. Shivers, Rusty. Shivers down the spine. Of course, Radiant, a new member of Direwolves, and him putting on that jacket. Whew, tomorrow is going to be pretty interesting.
He looks good in green right there. That's the one thing I could take away from that one. I think Tally even tweeted that at one stage.
Yeah.
But we're still not done with our first semi-final, Atlas. Let's not get overexcited for the Raider.
I apologize. It's just, whoa, that video got me going. So yes, do or die most definitely for Avant. 2-0 for Legacy right now. They're looking fantastic, in control of every position. Avant's going to have to pull off a miracle here in Game 3.
The reverse sweep is always in the back of your mind. It's always a lingering possibility, and AV, they're the kind of team that can just pop off at any moment and find a victory out of nowhere. And from thin air, if you underestimate them or you don't have a plan, you will fall.
Certainly will, as AV haven't banned the Vladimir just yet. We'll see whether they take it away, as we are in Champ Select. Malzahar, Gragas, Bard taken away by Legacy, and it's going to be Braum, Trundle, and Talia that are removed on the side of AV, and Vlad just snapped up by Choose. Of course, taking a couple of hits now in back-to-back patches. You can see Tally's pretty happy about the situation.
Even Carbon was being quite enthusiastic by, we have to pick the Vladimir. As AV have responded immediately.
Yeah, Jin and Rek'Sai taken away. Do like it on Shelby and the Rek'Sai, and then Chenny Boy finally getting his hands on that Jin pick. We'll see whether this is going to make the difference.
It could well be. A lot of supports actually being banned means that I wouldn't say it's banned Kuden out, but with Braum gone, Trundle gone, and Bard, that's a lot of his playmaking champions now completely removed.
Is it though? The Soraka's still up, and there is nothing more revolting than Vladimir's Soraka.
Here's the thing.
In League of Legends.
I said playmaking. I specifically said playmaking because I'm expecting a Karma or Soraka to be seen. But we will see.
Well, Carbon actually switching things up, was looking at his Lee Sin, would have liked to see that, but yes, that is the Karma picked up, so not necessarily a playmaking support. We'll see whether Choose decides to play it in the mid lane there as Carbon switches back to the Nidalee. Once again, going to be on the Spear Lady.
I was so ready for the Jarvan. The Wombo is legit. That would have been glorious, but instead, the Nidalee, the champion that he didn't even need a Keystone Mastery on, to find a victory in game number 1.
Yeah.
Might actually have one this time around, and you'd expect his jungling to be improved due to that.
Oh, no, I still want the 12-12 situation. I'm excited about it. As Triple is going to lock away his Victor. Hexcore a little bit more expensive on the prior patch as Channy takes away the Alistair for Jake. So a lot of engaged potential from the bottom side of the map. And AV now with quite a decent team fighting composition at this point.
Yeah, very standard team fight style from them. Victor, Chaos Storm, Jin to be ranged as well. Out of range potentially of Legacy. We've got the Alistar to protect him. They've also got that Rek'Sai to round it out. So front line's there, damage is already there. All they need is Paradise to pick his own champion. That could well be that Aurelia. It could be the Fiora. But this is all of the tools that AV actually want to have to set up a strong 4v4, where Paradise isn't 100% necessary, but having him there is an added bonus.
Certainly is. As Legacy, of course, just pick up the Aurelia one more time for Tally. 2 back-to-back damn decent performances on the champion. No point changing now as the Karma Sivir bottom lane has been secured by Legacy.
And when you look at the difference in team compositions, the Fiora should be locked in. Legacy have got a comp that doesn't exactly match what AV can do in team fighting, but it's much more of a, if you come at us, we will run away from you, and if we want to run at you, we will catch you. Plain and simple, it's a Karma Sivir comp, it's a stock standard bottom lane that augments your team whilst also having a carry potential between them. So I like what Legacy have got themselves, even with all of these supports being banned. AV, however, have the best bottom lane probably for them.
Yeah, I certainly do. I do love Legacy's composition as far as its flexibility, though. I mean, their poke and siege as well is fantastic. Then their kite back, they can engage utilizing it as well. A lot of speed there as Paradise finally looks back at the Jax, and it will be locked in.
There we go.
If there's ever a game to bring it out, it is most certainly this one, as it's been banned in almost every other game that AV have played. I'm so surprised this is the first time we're seeing it. And this, if there's a matchup in League of Legends, it's fun to watch. It's Jax versus Aurelia.
Yeah, the feelers have been out for AV in games 1 and 2. I think Paradise has now got his eye in the top lane matchup.
Yeah.
Starting to feel a bit of momentum, even if AV as a team are not. Jax into Aurelia. It's the kind of matchup that goes both directions or either direction, quite heavy-handed. And it could go both ways. You'd say Chelby focusing top lane. Could mean that Paradise snowballs, and the major difference between this game and the previous is that when a Jax is snowballed, a Jax wins the whole game.
Yeah.
The whole thing is his for the take.
It certainly does. Of course, the first time we saw Paradise on Jax, he debuted it with a 13, 2, and 3 scoreline. So this guy, pretty damn good at the champion, but it's been a while since he's played it. Quite a few weeks. We'll see whether he's still got it in him, but this time I feel a lot more confident in Avant's draft, especially.
I agree. I think they've got much more of a, let's just say, simple composition from AV, right? A Victor hits a laser, followed up quite nicely by a Jhin who can come mid lane at any moment and lock down Choose. It is a dangerous composition to go against if you're Legacy, who aren't exactly playing the easiest of team compositions to execute on, but they've got the Donkey Whistle. They can just blow that Sivir ultimate, get the Karma Shield and catch people out, or survive if things get a little bit too hot and heated in any lane that they choose to fight.
Yeah.
Both teams are set up in very unique ways, but both quite dangerous.
Yeah, and I think as well the jungle matchup is somewhere we're once again going to have to look at, because Carbon was all over it in game number 1 on the Nidalee, and we'll see whether Chelby can fight back now in game number 3, this do-or-die game for Avant, who need to try and keep themselves in it. Of course, Froskerin predicted the 3-1 victory for Legacy, and this is her opportunity to find her way to a correct prediction. Spawn right on track right now as Legacy looking to shore it up 3-0. Now on our blue side, now onto the Rift.
And once again, that's the beauty of Avant Garde. They may be the underdogs in this game and in this series, but they can find games where you just don't expect it from them.
And Carbon can find a Keystone Mastery as well, Rusty. It's Strength of the Ages, though. It's a bit boring.
Yeah, it's not a Thunderlords, unfortunately. He's going for the standard jungler Keystone Master, you'd have to say. Of course, Chelby doing the same thing. There was a moment and a time where Fervor of Battle and Thunderlords were starting to be seen more and more, but you can't get away from the stock and standard.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad, though. I mean, Choo Choo's even going for the Strength of the Ages as well. It's a Windspeaker's Blessing on Kuden. He could have gone Thunderlords at least, but no, Legacy opting in for a little bit more of the defensive options in their Keystones. Apart from Tally, who's got the Fervor of Battle, Paradise as well, equalizing that in the top side of the map. And same items there as well, as you can see. Everything just standard here.
And cast your mind back for a moment, Atlas, to week 4 of Legacy against Avant.
Oh, that's a long way.
They compiled themselves the Yasuo Zac combo and hit the Wombo.
They did.
This isn't too far away from that, really. An Alistar Victor and a Rek'Sai knockup. They have knockups and damage to layer quite effectively.
Not to mention Paradise with his Counter-Strike as well, AoE stun. It's all about the same range. So if Legacy are all standing on top of each other, it could be very, very scary.
Yeah, it's always going to be a possibility. It lingers in the minds of Legacy. But right now, 2-0 up. They are still looking commanding.
Yeah, Journey Boy running out of bullets, looking for that last crit onto Kuden and finds it there, but answers for it with a Q. And King, of course, he just wants to push minions. Nice bit of grenade.
Unfortunately, didn't kill the minions before it, so it doesn't do too much bonus damage.
Yeah.
Chenny's still doing well in this lane, as Kuden makes the most of that damage.
Yeah, Paradise doesn't find the stun onto Tally with his Counter-Strike taking level 1. Good Equilibrium strike for Tally. Make sure that he's going to be okay in this lane.
Pushing for level 2. Paradise is about to get it sooner, so Tally zones himself as bottom.
Whoa, yeah, Chenny down below 200 health as Jake's trying to peel. Has level 2. The empowered Q lands, and Jake now in trouble. Boomerang lands. Good triumphant roar, but Jake takes both ticks. And Legacy well and truly in control.
Yeah, they are decimating this bottom lane. That's the strength that Kuden can have on that Karma, having extra poke there.
Yeah.
Jake will have the triumphant roar, so he doesn't have all-in pressure. There's no flash pulverize headbutt into your tower or anything available until level 3, but they will have help. If there's one thing that AV will have eventually, it is sustain in this lane. Just waiting for it to get pushed into them.
Yeah, this Cannon Creep probably will survive as well, so good news. Jake probably wants to grab that one with his Relic Shield if he picked it up. He did. Doesn't quite have a stack. Oh, nails it. Okay, Chenny Boy, you're right back in it in my book. 5 CS behind, but who cares? You've got the cannon.
And of course, that's the most important thing for you, Atlas.
Most certainly is.
Still, lane control is the other thing that Legacy have got right now, which means Carbon has some availabilities there. You can creep past that Scuttle Vision and is now working his way in looking for the enemy jungler simply because his bottom lane can rotate. AVs cannot. But that is immediately reflected as opposites in this middle lane where Choose has not had a lot of wave control. Until now, where Triple's mana is now waning.
Yep, but good defensive play from Triple. Makes sure he gets out of the way, knowing that Carbon was coming in. Paradise gets himself some free space with knowledge of the jungler on the top side of the map.
Yeah, he's pushing quite far forward, but it's not going to amount to anything, naturally, as he can't get ganked. But he is in an awkward spot where this wave, Tally can't freeze it, but it is in a spot where I wouldn't say Paradise wants.
Well, Shelby's going to find the knock-up as well. Easy first blood for Avant. Fantastic start for this team. Now 600 gold in the lead.
Super delicate, but executed very well from AV. That was a good move from Chelby. No summoners even burnt by Tally. Just means a free first blood in the pocket of AV.
Yeah, just fantastic layering of CC. Tally was dead before he had any options of doing anything.
Yep, couldn't stun anybody. They might have died if there was a stun under the turret. Just nothing really going Tally's way. But again, that strategy from AV, focus Paradise, get him going. It's still there.
Yeah, Tally now looking for a Phage as his first item. Had the opportunity of grabbing Sheen almost every single other time. By almost, I mean actually. Carbon's coming over to steal some Raptors. Triple wants to get him out of that jungle, but doesn't have support at Shelby. He's only level 5.
Yeah, Triple has to be a little bit careful. There could have been a stray Spirit.
Whoa.
Hello.
Yeah, there's the flash headbutt as King right underneath the turret. Has to flash his way out. Chenny flashes over the top, but he's reloading. Another bullet has to come in. Can he get it? Heal was still there. And AV able to lock that one down. Paradise looking for more as he teleported in. Leap strike will be there, and he gets the kill through the shield.
Now 3-0 for AV. They're 1,000 gold ahead.
Welcome to the series, AV.
Yeah, and this third game feels like it's just all red.
Paradise just goes fishing. Love that skin as well. I mean, just brilliant from everyone. I mean, Choose is doing me proud. He's got the Nosferatu Vlad. But AV, most certainly not out of this one yet. And it was looking worrying.
Whoa, Tally. The smallest of things as well, right? Like, Chelby goes top lane, they get the kill on a Tally. He teleports, and now Chelby is making another move. Looking for Choose. Not going to be an easy find.
Yeah, throws down the Ghost. Pulls there to avoid the knockup. Shelby knows that cooldown.
That health back.
Yeah, give me that. Crimson Rush. Easy peasy. So Choose now with the Ghost. Not too worried about the lack of movement speed for Vladimir at the moment.
Yeah, so it's just a Ghost gone. We'll have his flash, and that's the shorter of the cooldowns, that Ghost. Still be fine in this middle lane, but that's still Chelby being proactive, still making moves and getting it done for AV. As a result of Tally teleporting top, Paradise can afford to do so in the bottom lane. Gets a kill as well. This is a snowball potentially there for that Jax.
Yeah, has boots when he goes back as well after grabbing himself that kill. 46 CS for Tally in comparison to the 41 from Paradise, so still farming up quite nicely and has himself the Phage. So more of the defensive option as he starts off the Trinity Force. As Paradise tanks himself up a spear.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, Counter-Strike is going to be available here as Carbon's taking a lot of damage. Hemoplate comes down, Choose flashes on top. My god, the damage as Carbon's going to grab it with a takedown. Legacy right on top of it.
Turns out he wants it. Paradise way too forward when there was people collapsing onto him. This is Choose having lane control, means he can rotate. This is Legacy's mid laner displaying his capabilities of not just being grounded to that middle lane. He is a rotational mid laner at the moment, playing like an assassin on Vladimir.
And Tally as well. I mean, he had the wave in the perfect place. Paradise had nothing he could do towards the top side of the map.
And still doing that, right? Tally's got the freeze. So whilst AV are looking a lot better in this third game rather, Legacy have got answers.
And it feels like just strategy from Legacy. Keeping a cool head, making sure that none of this is getting to them. You can see the gold is completely even, despite Avant having 2 extra kills. Nothing going wrong so far for Legacy that they can't really triage at this point.
And let's be fair, the kill that happened in the bottom lane is because King's playing so far forward under this turret. The flash is unpredictable.
Yeah.
He couldn't spell shield a flash and then just gets knocked under the turret. Look at the way they're playing still.
Oh my goodness, the snare comes in. King was wishing he had a boomerang available. Deadly Flourish doesn't find Kuden. And Carbon now looking for a gank.
He's about to find Shelby.
Yeah, he's ready. And even Triple's coming down as well. Tremor Sense is going to spot out Carbon. Tunnel's already set up here as Prey Seeker comes in. Really good Deadly Flourish as Carbon has to flash. Chaos Storm was used already. Triple going to be without that cooldown and threw down the Ghost at the same time. Paradise throws down the Grandmaster's Might, actually looking for Tally here, who thinks this is a time to go in. Transcendent Blades will give him another Sheen proc, but doesn't use it onto Paradise.
Yeah, wins the trade but I don't know how prolonged of a trade he can continue to win it. We'll push under the turret anyway with that Jax, and things will reset somewhat comfortably for Paradise. Of course, if he had a Sheen there, Tally, it might have been enough to burst out. Went for the phage route because he keeps getting traded on by this Jax. And again, Jax, huge snowbally champion, but Shelby is not addressing it right now.
Yeah, and Paradise is now 30 CS behind. So Tally goes back. We'll be able to get that item advantage as Jake here towards the bottom side. Kuden finding him. Not going to be able to do too much to the cow as Choose wanted some little raptors. Get some health back there at the same time. Triple just guarding that camp. Upgraded Hex score is in for the victor at the same time. Tally now looking for another Rift Herald.
Going to get spotted doing this, and it's too early. They'll lose too much health with the Nidalee as their jungler. That's pretty risky. But thankfully for them, Victor doesn't have his ulti. Bottom lane still controlling and winning.
Well, now, yeah, Curtain Call comes in. Chenny lands the first one, gets the second onto a spell shield as Kuden walks out of range. Nice snare onto Jake. AV throw down a big cooldown, but get themselves some lane control.
Level 6 achieved by Chenny and just throws it out. Wins them the lane until recalls come in from Legacy, and they're not even recalling.
Yeah.
And once again, a lot of availability for a play with teleports up around the Drake. It's an Infernal Drake, and it's a Jhin composition. It's one thing that Legacy should be putting a very high priority on.
Jhin, Victor, Jax. Ridiculous as King's in trouble. Headbutt Pulp comes in. He's going to burn to death as Jake now has the ultimate running. He's extraordinarily low, and Chenny Boy is not where he wants to be. Kuden answers that pick. Both AD carries are now dead as Jake running away from spears, doesn't get hit. They see Triple moving down.
Yeah, Triple rotating down means they don't chase any further. Chenny does die. I already said King overstayed. He had no health. Even has his flash available, but just was not able to use it because he was locked. Due to the CC there. He's mid.
Yeah, Hemoplay comes in. Choose wants this. The flash comes out of Triple. Tanks a turret shot, but Crimson Rush is going to keep him healthy. Triple will have to just move away.
Vladimir rule of thumb, and even trade is a one trade by a Vladimir. He'll be perfectly fine. Summon is also used. So Choose doesn't have his flash. It's very close. Could have been a kill. Was not.
Yeah, this is really cool out of Choose as well, deciding to go for very early cooldown reduction. Already has 20% with those Lucidity Boots in the Kindle Gem.
He's snowballing as well instead of going for the Spectre's Cowl route.
Yeah.
Instead of having magic resistance, he's opting immediately into what is potentially the Proto Belt. Of course, it builds into Spirit Visage and Proto Belt.
So I'd like to see Proto
leaving himself quite flexible.
So depending on how things go, might see either Boomerang going to find just the tip on a Chenny Boy.
Like they're just winning this through laning phase right now. AV are making plays, constantly trying to get kills. And even if they get them, it's still a 30 CS lead for King. It's still a big advantage achieved by Tally. And still a big lead from Choo Choo's. This is exactly what Legacy do to win games of League of Legends until they hit a power spike and say time to group.
Yeah, pull that trigger. As Choose has just been consistently winning this mid lane. Nice pulverize, but only lands on Kuden. Carbon turns up. They're looking to try and grab this turret first blood, and they should be able to as well. Deadly Flourish comes in. There's the curtain call. Spear lands. My God. That damage was ridiculous. His last bullet does a lot of work to Kuden, but he survives.
Now they're moving 4 people down to this bottom lane, though. Accidentally makes a dragon angry, so it will be spotted. But again, that's a good move from Legacy. If they continue to pressure this bottom lane, Chenny not having his ultimate means they could actually get that turret first blood. But they hold off. They show some reservations about their strategy.
And Choose actually does decide to go for the defensive route with the Spirit Visage as well. Grabs it on his next back. Still 15 CS in the lead. Perfect Hex core, though, is there for Triple. A decent spike for the Victor. And the steal of the blue buff comes in as Paradise locks that one down for Triple.
Yeah, thankfully Choose is not too reliant on that one. It's nice to have a bit of cooldown reduction, but he's already at a fair percentage of it.
Yeah, 20% not too bad.
Being a level 9 plus Vladimir, the Q cooldown is effectively non-existent at this point as it is.
Yeah. Well, Paradise makes his way back up to this lane. 15 CS down against Tally, but that margin has lowered. Garden was standing on top of a ward. Triple's still playing very defensively. Admirably as well, because he's had a fair bit of attention.
And no real advantages across the board, honestly. Either of these teams. Legacy are farming better, but AV are being more active in their ganks on the Rift.
Yeah. Couple of extra kills. Mantra Q comes down as Jake level 7 does have the ultimate, of course, but does have to be so careful. Down to 300 health as this Alistair, and this tower looking like the next point of focus for Legacy and will be the advantage that they're looking for, as the gold currently 200 between these two teams could erupt after this base is broken. We'll see whether Chelby can do anything.
Yeah, so Chelby's going to be spotted now. They actively now can just decide what Legacy want to do, as this is quite forward.
Yeah, it's Triple getting dove and just explodes on top of Triple with the Tides of Blood. Vladimir, everyone.
Good night, sweet Triple.
Nosferatu Vladimir does extra damage as well, Rusty, just so you know.
All right, man.
Yep.
If you say so.
Certainly does.
That's now potentially a mid lane turret being pressured at the same time as bottom, and Chelby's reacting to Carbon's move, so Legacy are still being in the forefront of these map plays. Once again.
Oh, well, there's the head buff. Oh, teleport's coming in from AV. They want to protect this turret. Teleport answered on the side of AV as King, burning to death by the Ignite, and AV don't quite know who they want to target. Really good stun comes out on Paradise, who leaps his way out, and Chelby may not be quite as lucky. There's the turnaround, the curtain call from right underneath this turret as Choose has turned up just in time, but it is just a disengage, and AV get out.
And good awareness from Carbon actually to block that last bullet from killing King. He was trying to get the Warlord's Bloodlust lifesteal there. And ends up no one dies. The turret still stands and teleports have been burnt. It was an Infernal Drake that also can't be touched because everyone's health bars and spell cooldowns are too big of a deal.
Yeah.
The deal breaker, however, was Choose being there, Triple not being able to, as he got 1v1'd.
Underneath his turret. In between his turret and his inner turret.
Sorry,
I
he
think
got
is what it was.
Vladimir'd.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the word. Perfect.
Caught on rotation, I believe, actually, from mid to blue.
Ah, yes.
So a lot of free burst available as First Blood.
Yeah, Tally's going to pick that one up. Gets the solo go for it as well. Might pay for it with his life. Uses the flash to get out, and Leap Strike's going to come in. The heal from King was just not in time. And Tally falls, but probably an even trade.
300 gold for 650 gold.
Yeah.
It's basically what we just saw. That's a pretty big Tally item spike.
Well, Paradise jumps over to Chelby. Spear is going to be tanked potentially, but does miss. AV get out.
Yeah, but that's still that first turret down. They can break more now. AV's response is go to the opposite side of the map, which means they give up the Infernal Drake. Not great. If they're just trading, they actually lose out on a big objective.
Yeah, this is a big deal. And this is one of the dragons that AV did really want to contest for all the reasons you listed earlier.
The last thing a Vladimir needs is a bonus to AP as well as his build champion.
He double scaled.
Yeah.
With the old AP. Thankfully, Jack's a little bit different in that regard.
Yeah, a little bit.
Would have been just completely ballistic had it been old Jack, but we're okay now. Everything's going to be fine. Tally takes himself down a wolf camp. Chelby unable to steal that one away.
Has no smite. He's now being collapsed on as well.
Equilibrium Strike does get the stun, but Chelby able to tunnel his way out. Finds the rest of his team.
Lovely interaction between Rek'Sai tunnels and any kind of lockdown that isn't a displacement spell. Of course, you take the tunnel, the stun duration counts whilst you're tunneling. Because that's just what you do. When you're stunned, you can move.
Maybe it's like the tunnel's actually just a slide, so you don't actually need to be able to move if you're going through the tunnel. You just sort of go, buh.
So that's why it gets me, though, is because it's not a slide. It's a tunnel.
How do you know, man?
So unless it's
under the ground.
Unless it's like a preset. You know what? Pool Party Rek'Sai, I'm willing to forgive. He's on a water slide.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, Chelby, you're going to have to adjust your skin. Otherwise, it's not going to work. How did he not activate that trap? That was very strange. He's gotten skinny, has Chelby. Triple here, tanking things up here in the mid lane. Trying to take control of this lane. Choose throwing out some Qs, and he's not taking very much damage at all. Even has a giant spell building towards the Rylai's.
Yeah, so Choose is definitely a powerful Vladimir at the moment. The real question past this point, as we've traded one turret apiece, is how do they respond now? We're at 18 minutes. They could continue the second turret trades and bring the Sivakama to the top side of the map. But at this stage, it looks like Tally just wants to hang out in this and maybe get a 2v2 off.
Yeah, well, Transcendent Blades flies through. Carbon's in here, lands the spear as Tally in trouble. Paradise is going to grab the kill, and now Carbon has to move out. The pounce comes in as Choose flashes on top of them. Tides of Blood for a lot of damage, and Carbon locks down Paradise. Choose going to once again use that E, and Shelby's going to follow. King even able to grab that kill, and Legacy just collapsed better.
That's the immediate collapse, right? Legacy were on the middle of the map, the dead center, deciding on what their next strategy was going to be. And they can just walk to topside because Jackson Rek'Sai were trying to make a play onto Tally. He may go down, but they immediately then trade, and King gets the kill. The recipient of that kill is now so far ahead. And look at Choose.
He just wanders up to triple. You can see immediately the Karma falls down as
This is
AV
ridiculous.
still in trouble. That burst damage is ridiculous. Takedown through the ultimate on Jake secures the kill for Carbon.
And Chenny's too slow. He has no boots.
This is really scary, and we slowed the movement speed of Vladimir, but maybe not quite enough. As it is going to be the captive audience and Deadly Flourish that lock him down, and Chenny Boy gets out.
Rek'Sai will, of course, save it with the loud screech, but Legacy. Choose actually just walked up 1v3 and said, let's go, boys.
He said, no, not this turret, guys.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Kuden dies, as they are still mounting their defiances.
Yeah. Curtain call comes in, cancelled after a couple of bullets there from Chenny, but does dissuade Legacy's siege.
And Talisman going to be seen by the Alistar in this game. Of course, the item build has changed. It gives cooldown reduction, and it lets you build whatever the heck that thing is called that makes you move quicker near turrets, dead or alive.
The Raptor Cloak, Rusty.
It's the armor thing.
The armor thing. The thing that should be built into a ZZ-Rot portal.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like really confused when I first saw it. Yeah. But it means that he has the
Or an Ohm Wrecker.
potential engage tool there, where you can pop the Talisman, and if you're near a dead turret, you move even faster and lock everybody down.
See whether it is going to work out here for AV. As Jake will be definitely one of those engage tools that they're looking towards. Triple now has all of his wave clear done. Merlinomicon completed as well.
No.
As King just going to face check Paradise. Exactly not what he wants as he
Or
gets
is
himself the stun. The rest of Legacy have turned up. Paradise still wants it, but he's not going to... Oh my god! And he's still alive. Chaos Storm comes in as Triple now 1 versus 3. Just taking his turn, but might be able to get another kill. The flash comes down, but Baron gets so mad. And Triple's able to pick that one up at 2 for 2 in the end.
Kuden was dodging so long that he ended up in the Baron pit. Choose now. You need to be careful, buddy. There's 3 people there.
Spear dodged by Chenny. And Tally is going to launch his way in. Shelby tunnels his way out. Nice use of the knock-up onto Tally, but he's still so healthy. Chenny, decent positioning. Deadly Flourish doesn't find the Aurelia. And Dancing Grenade just scatters on top of this Legacy roster.
As much as Chenny wants to use his R button, it's not going to find any kills against the Legacy team. You get to see this one again. King no vision. Immediately just boots himself a little bit. Has to run away from him. Unfortunately for King, the cooldowns are... Oh, hello.
Yeah, Carbon trying to get himself out. No flashes.
Wrong side of the rift.
Unfortunate. I was expecting Jake to go over there. He does have his flash.
Greyseeker will probably miss. The ward's missed.
Oh, Carbon cancels it. Deadly Flourish avoided as there's the headbutt pole. Shutdown comes in from Shelby.
Yeah, Carbon has no flash. He was on the wrong side. Unfortunately for AV, Legacy are winning elsewhere.
Not to mention, we were talking about scaling for AV. They definitely do have that. But Legacy this game most certainly do as well. I mean, Vladimir, phenomenal. Siva, amazing. And Aurelia, another one of those.
And it's just hilarious to, once again, tally 0-3 on Aurelia, not having the best game of his life. They've got a 3-3 Jax opposing him, so you would say starting to favor more and more that Jax in the matchup that they are faced against each other with.
Yeah.
However, a 5-1 Nidalee and a 2-0-5 Vladimir could ultimately be the downfall of AV, who have given them the Vladimir to first pick.
Yeah, and they've both picked up their Ryla's Crystal Scepters as well. As Choose and Carbon have now the utility available to them, as well as so much health for Vladimir. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a tank.
He's going to be doing a lot of damage whilst being reasonably tanky. Not only that, the Rylai is able to empower a Siva and a Karma composition. So now we have 2 speed-up champions in the Karma and the Siva, alongside 2 slow-based champions now on the Nidalee and the Vladimir. Even past that point, the heals that Legacy have got, they can still pretty much match the split push that Paradise is putting down, because the Randuins is the choice for Tally.
Yeah.
He's going defensive to survive. It's more about how they now execute Legacy is to be careful.
Yeah, Talisman gets popped, but Kuden says, we're going to disengage. I'm sorry. Curtain call comes in. Kuden tagged by 1, but Primal Surge is there. The shield's down as well. And Choose puts himself in the way and says, I don't care about damage.
Yeah, so cancels the ultimate early. Jax is still taking blue buffs, though, and is still in control of the 1v1. So AV, they get control of the area earlier, and that's what they're utilizing to try and make picks to stop Legacy from having control, because the second that control is there, the 4v4 is good for Legacy, whereas AV are trying to promote that 1v1 strength.
Shelby moves over the side here. King doesn't get hit by the Deadly Flourish, and they lock down the Dragon. Infernal and Cloud now in the back pocket of Legacy, and a 2,000 gold lead to boot. Like you were talking about, though, Paradise still a big deal. Has, of course, the Touch of the Void, I believe. Still not entirely sure.
I think it's Glimpse, actually.
Glimpse of the Void.
Yeah, it's Glimpse.
I like the touch, but maybe that's just me.
That's what the goals are, really.
Yeah.
Maybe still in this game. It may only be 20 minutes in. 24, in fact. Legacy have won their last game in 29.
Yeah.
And so things might be favoring Legacy by having a gold lead in the 20s mark. But AV's composition is always in this game.
Oh, yeah. And they have so many opportunities to find their way to execute it as well. Fights around this Baron Pit will be strong for AV.
He just swept with an Oracle's on. That's not efficient.
No, also misses that ward as well, which is unfortunate, and has been caught out potentially by the Legacy bottom lane.
Now has no sleeper.
This is a disaster.
Everything that could go wrong.
Oh no! Now he's caught by the jungler and mid laner as Choose over to the side. Jake, can he actually save his jungler here? As pull has to be used relatively early. Choose will get out of the way. Almost has his Zhonya's as well for 30% CDR.
Yeah, and isn't going proto belt, so missing a bit of cooldown reduction, but it's compensated by the boots of Lucidity.
I hope he gets Abyssal Scepter for the 40%. That'd be cool.
Vlad's W did get changed a little bit, 2 extra seconds on it, so that cooldown reduction would be nice to have.
Yeah, definitely important. He's now Carbon, poking his head around. We'll see whether this is going to be once again the pick as Chelby's looking for the knock-up. Good curtain call. The flash comes out of Carbon, though. Makes it into the brush.
Watch the Vladimir.
Will be able to prowl his way around. Choose now finds himself right in amongst everyone. The gravity field doesn't get the stun or the extra CC. Is now Triple has been caught out by Tally. Good Chaos Storm as Tally has to flash for King. Flashes his way over as well. Big Ricochet doesn't quite land into the back line of AV.
Yeah, they don't get the kills, but look at Legacy's vision right now. Look at the control that they have on the red side jungle of Avant. If they walk to this Baron Pit and even check, they're going through Legacy's vision and knowledge that they are there. This is a risky call from Legacy.
1 versus 4 right now as the pull does come in. Spear not going to find anyone. Grandmaster's Might down onto Paradise, who's looking for something, but it wears off. And Legacy back away from the Baron as well, so nothing to be gained.
No, nothing lost. Legacy pulled the risky move there. They tried to see if AV would not actually check, given the control they had in the way of wards. But AV do. Their spider senses were tingling. Good teams don't bait, I believe is the rule of thumb.
Uh-huh. I do like it from Legacy, though. Make sure they're testing AV at every single turn. If they can take something, they most certainly will. And King, he's still just waiting for that final item spike. Has himself the Hex Drinker, so he's going to be a little bit further away from the old Infinity Edge.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. He also doesn't have the Phantom Dancer, went for Static Shiv for wave clear, so his dueling against that Jax isn't going to be as nice.
Yeah.
Means the burst is still going to be there from Paradise. Blade of the Ruined King Trinity Force build is split pushing inclined. He can 1v1 Tally, but if he ever gets into a team fight, gets onto King in the back line, it's not going to be pretty.
Oh no. Shelby getting slowed by Choose, but doesn't take a lot of damage. He's got that Spirit Charge there. Almost has his Randy Wins as well for a heck of a lot of health. And having that crit resistance, brilliant against King. His Carbon's been stunned, but still wants to throw sticks at AV. Oh, King's tagged. Spell Shield comes in, avoids the rest of the slow, but Kuden takes the next bullet. I mean, it's just still in the chamber.
I'm waiting for it. Now to heal.
Yep, Primal Surge going to be there for Carbon if he wants it. As Deadly Flourish lands onto the Nidalee, this could be a big deal. Nice knock-up, but he gets shielded. Legacy not really taking damage from this. Teleport coming in for Tally, as now AV on the run. Avoided is the boomerang from King, so Chenny keeps himself healthy. Legacy now with a big cooldown now unavailable, and AV possibly able to find their way back in. Another Deadly Flourish. There's the flash knock-up as Kuden does still have that summoner spell. Gets himself over the wall as Choose almost deleted. Uses the Zhonya's, still has the pull as he throws down the Hemo Plague. Jenny able to finish him off in the end with the help of Triple, but look at the damage onto this Jhin. That was a ricochet, I believe, as Tally caught up by the gravity field. And in goes Chelby, able to pick that one up. King, really nice spell shield. Death Ray doesn't find him, and AV in a good position.
Yeah, they get the turret, so AV win a fight now at 28 minutes in. Things starting to look up for their red side at the moment in game number 3. The do or die reverse sweep necessity.
Oh yeah.
That Avant have got for themselves. King's damage is not there. He was in the perfect position to do damage there and just really didn't show up at all.
No, couldn't quite find it.
But there was a lot of big details in that fight. So it starts off Kuden no mana, gets chunked out. He's a non-factor. Choose gets bursted before he can put his ult down, and so he has to zone his burst. This means he's never going to get health back from that ulti. And it's because AV just run at them and lock them down constantly. If he got his health back from that ult popping, AV might have died. But ultimately, they just had nothing that they could do. And look at King. He had a great spot here to do damage. Just didn't do any.
Didn't have the ricochet available for that part of the fight as well, so unfortunate. Still, 70 CS ahead. Carbon pounces his way out of this Baron pit, gets mad at Kuden after he leaves.
Oh, like, he's massive, actually, King, in comparison.
Yeah.
But it's the more of Malmortius that's there to keep him alive that's effectively going to where that goal could be an Infinity Edge or a Last Whisper. Something that can actually take you out as this 1v1 would be awkward.
Already is. Here's Paradise with the Grandmaster's Might. He is down. Not a lot of options here for Choose, but Crimson Rush, look at that! It is ridiculous. And now Paradise has to get himself out. The Leap Strike going to get himself over the top. And yes, at least now he knows that it's very difficult to take down this guy. Ooh, close Deadly Flourish as Chenny Boy throws down the ultimate again. Lands it onto Carbon, misses the second one, and the third, and the fourth one hits Kuden. Not quite enough damage there for AP to find themselves and engage.
No, Chenny not doing much damage at all, honestly. He's just there to press W and throw down the ultimate to slow people. They've got the combo of the P shooter from Rek'Sai with the Q. There's another Infernal to be seen.
Man, it's just going to be taken there. Choose actually locks that one down as On the Hunt has been popped. Shelby in trouble as he tunnels his way out. Hemoplague right in the back line, but Choose has been stunned up. Jenny over the wall, but Choose flashes after him and transfuses. Paradise over the side is trying to find King. Decent spell shield. Equilibrium strikes there, but Tally not able to save his AD carry. Triple kill comes in now as Choose uses the Zonyas and Paradise is looking to get out. Gravity Field is right there and Tally gets himself a reset. But Paradise honestly saved that for AV.
Paradise gets a triple kill and just decimates King, who still even had his flash available, but it's not going to be enough to get through an Aurelia and a Vladimir as an end result. And AV, they should have got out better for that because of Paradise's performance. And they've now put themselves into a little bit of a hole. Legacy have got so much team fighting strategy.
Oh, yeah.
Too many threats. And it all starts with Shelby getting caught as well, right? Like, look at Paradise. This is the best flank possible onto Carbon, King, and Kuden. They do not touch him because of the timing of that E. He even focuses Kuden first before saying, King, you're up. Actually just takes them all out piece by piece, but this exact same time, they've got Choose doing work, they've got Tally doing work. They come back, but the decision was not to actually kill Paradise from Legacy. It was to kill the rest of AV and then just try and kite back.
Yeah,
they didn't do it.
And they're two pseudo tanks. Honestly left standing at the end. Tally and Choose just have so much sustain. I feel like AV run out of cooldowns and then they've still almost got full health.
Yeah, there's a lot of health that can be brought back from them. Still waiting on bigger item spikes actually from the side of Legacy. They want Void Staffs to be completed on both of their magic damage dealers.
Shelby seems to have found Tally here, but King's going to find his way over the side. Ultimate down, cancelled there by Chenny as they found Triple just wandering through the jungle and Legacy able to pick that one up all too easily.
I'm not actually sure Triple even left that bush since the last time we saw it.
This is ridiculous. Shelby does find Kuden. Hep up pole from Jake is going to land on top of the support as well. Teleport coming in as Hemoplague is already
they
down.
Won't kill Paradise.
Yeah, Teleport is going to come in. Really good captive audiences down to stop Choose from finding a way out. As that Duskblade did basically nothing to the Vladimir, and Legacy aggressively start off this Baron.
It looked like Pop Rocks in his mouth, honestly. It just tickled and he walked away. Choose now zoning them. Shelby going in.
Yeah, looking for the potential steal, but they jump in straight away. Paradise over to the top as King flashes his way out. Good heal comes in there, but Paradise is still able to lock him down. 1 versus 4, and Carbon still has to try and escape. Good spear off the backside as Carbon almost dies to the Deadly Flourish. But Paradise is trying so hard this game.
And the thing is, they can't do the Baron afterwards because King is constantly dead. There is very little that Legacy are able to do. Paradise is starting to ramp up, and he is a big deal in this third game. They are committing to this one more time. The only reason that works out for them is because Shelby blind checks if the Baron was taken to steal it at about 5,000 hit points.
They actually just committed to it as well. Spear does go wide as Shelby. Just looking to clear out vision. Does so quite nicely.
Baron is going to get mad at him, but not too mad.
So Legacy don't get the buff. AV do live to see another day, as does the Baron itself. Mr. Nasher would be happy about this, but we were still waiting for the item spikes from Legacy.
Yeah.
They are starting to come across now. About 500 gold more for Carbon. He's got his Void Staff. Choose just bought his. We are waiting on a last Whisper, though, from King, who has committed to an Infinity Edge as his 4th item, which is reasonably inefficient for item slots. The man needs a lot of money and fast.
Yeah, and also still needs to have that pink ward in his back pocket as well. Legacy rely on their vision so much. They do have the Tremor Sense, it's a little bit more of a luxury.
As an afterthought as well, if I was Channy, I would have went Black Cleaver here. Just make your team stronger. Yeah, going for like a rapid fire cannon's nice. He'll be doing a lot of auto attack damage still. 20% CDR, throw out more Ws. I like it. Let your team be strong. And apparently, Triple doesn't need blue buffs.
No. Not this time, Shelby just takes that one down for himself. And Triple was hanging out around this Baron area as well as Legacy. Do want to start this one up again. Carbon throws a stick in it, but no. Not going to happen this time. They've got so much vision around this area. Once again,
Committing
Legacy
again.
going to start, yeah.
Carbon takes a lot of
turn up.
damage. They're just baiting. Again, they're playing around vision. They've got pink wards set up everywhere. As long as they control the river and the mid lane minions, Legacy are looking good. And they want Shelby.
Yeah, on the hunt comes in as Tally looks for Triple. Gravity Field goes down. Tally is going to be stunned, but there's the Hemo Plague. Triple just melts, and Shelby's going to be the next target. Paradise once again has found King. Spell Shield goes down, but Paradise has been stunned up. Looking for Carbon now, but the Primal Surge is there. Good shield comes in, but he doesn't survive for too long. Double kill comes down now for Tally. Despite everything, they're still able to get 3 for 1.
And at this stage, it's because Tally is doing what Paradise is doing that Legacy looks stronger than AV. That Jax is a monster. Legacy aren't stopping.
Just going to face check as the Pulverize comes in. Jake still has the headbutt, but he's going to get snared. Uses his ult, so he's going to be relatively healthy, and Choo Choo says, "You're not worth my time," as they walk towards the Baron.
Yeah, does it as an active attempt to ensure that the Jhin lives. Right now, speaking of the Jhin,
he is the hero that we're looking for right now.
I really don't know if they can do this. There's 2 people still here from AV. Legacy do not know that they are there.
Jake has got flash. The headbutt, Pulverize, steal. Will it happen? No, it doesn't. He flashes over the top and dies.
Chenny actually stacked up a crit, so they knew he was coming. Yep. And he looked to flash the wall and crit steal the Baron. Does not get it. The clutch moves from Legacy secure, and it's all coming down to killing Triple first. The Wombo is not available because he is destroyed. Paradise's decision here was to focus Carbon instead of King when the spell shield was down. The bit creative, because once again we get to see how Tally gets a double kill and barely lives.
Yeah, really cute one is Triple. I mean, I've seen this one before. Spear doesn't land, as Jake now has to run away. Legacy with even more time on the map after that Baron was taken. We'll see whether they take it next. Every inner turret is available for Legacy right now, as Shelby with his GA looking aggressive.
They have actually kicked this one off. King needs to show some respect to the damage it's doing. If Paradise shows up, which he is.
Yeah, teleports right in there as now Legacy have started off this fight. Jake throws down the ultimate, looking to buy some time as Paradise just going to kite this one away. Legacy looking to take down the cow, and he does fall. King grabs the kill. Kuden over to the side as Shelby's actually looking for a re-engage. Ultimate's used from Chenny. Kuden actually going to flash out of the way as the Elder Drake was going this whole time. And Carbon locks that one down. Kuden now trying to get them into a good position as Triple. Lots of burst. Chenny grabs himself that first kill, but has to be so careful. Tally looking for more as Choose, just doesn't care about anything. Hemo Plague grabs his kill onto Triple, his lane opponent, and Paradise now in the backline is able to get a double kill. Takes down King, but Choose just tides of bloods him. And that is going to be enough. Flashes for the Crimson Rush. And he's going to be able to kill Chenny as well.
Takes out a tunnel on his way through the turret. Does 836 damage to Chenny Boy. The Elder Dragon buff is a very big deal. Not only that, they have the Baron to augment it. And this is now Legacy in the driver's seat.
10, 1, and 11. Rusty, Choo Choo's is so big right now.
Last time we saw Choose play Vladimir, he solo carried the game.
Yep.
No surprises to see this from him one more time.
Yeah, Tally's actually tanking up this turret. They're going to focus the inhibitor turret down, and Jake, now without the ultimate, just gets Blade Surge to death. And that is going to be inhibitor dead, as Shelby cannot do anything to stop it.
And what was a 0-3 Aurelia is now 4-4. AV, on the back of Paradise, are trying their absolute hardest to win these fights and win these games. They're just not getting there. Look at Choose. The fact that he exists and Chenny's response is, I'm just gone. Like, there's nothing left for me but death, and I will not actively pursue that. The saving grace has consistently been that Paradise has killed King. With this damage, this flash is 836.
Oh dear. Did he get another assist out of somewhere? Yeah, he did. He managed to take down Jake, of course. Now AV at least grab themselves the red buff. They're still trying to scale. CS value's not too much of a problem, as apart from the 80 carry position, as King is now 140 CS. Oh,
Chenny.
There's Chenny now going to try and run away from Carbon. My god, that combo doing so much work. Tally gets collapsed on, however, and Jake picks up the kill. Curtain call from a safe position, and they've got 2 already. Jake finds Tuesday, can't get into this fight, and Paradise takes down King. Carbon, the next one in his sights. It's a decent slow, but can he get away from this is the real question. There's the death ray. Carbon still pouncing. They're waiting for more cooldowns. Will make it to the brush. Pounces again. Primal Surge. Actually might have been a bit of a waste of time, but he's still pouncing.
Yeah, he's alive.
And he gets out.
He actually almost gave away.
Choose, however. Yeah, in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have flash. Crimson Rush going to be there.
He's pretty quick.
For the movement speed, yeah. So fast.
Everyone's just running from Paradise.
Yeah.
There's a song about this, I think. You're always going to be the one.
I only know the Phil Collins one. Paradise is going to find Choose. Has another pool available as he's looking for the red buff. Does find it. And Choose looking to follow up. Spear lands. Whoa, if Choose had committed to that, might have been able to pick that kill up, but didn't have any cooldowns left.
And the only good thing that came from that was that AV are still chasing Legacy to the point where they got nothing from winning a fight.
Yeah. And now Choose finds his way all the way in. Look at the damage as he throws down the Zhonyas. Gravity Field's in a good position. He will get himself out. Chaos Storm does relatively little as Tally's found Jake on the backside. Legacy were given an opportunity to respawn. That spear does half of the blue bar's health bar. That was exciting as Tally now flashes onto Chenny Boy. He's looking for the kill on the 80 carry. Decent use of the Randuin's Omen. And there's the Hemo Plague. Choose looking for Chenny. He will just... Oh, that did so much damage! What?
Where did he go?
I wasn't ready for that.
No one was. Here's a death cap Vladimir, by the way. Legacy now looking towards ending.
Just ridiculous. These minions, super creeps moving up the mid lane are going to follow towards the Nexus. Paradise finds King again, but On the Hunt has been popped, and Paradise cannot tank through this damage. Carbon takes down Triple. Shelby will be taken down to his GA as he tunnels through the Nexus, and Choose now playing Gatekeeper on this fountain.
Oh no!
Massive 3-man knockup. Another one from Shelby as Tally falls down. Carbon bouncing around this fight, but Choose still alive. Flashes his way out. Tides of Blood. Paradise is going to get transfused. Choose gets the majority of his health bar back as Kuden flashes forward. King picks up the kill, and this is going to be a Game 3 victory for Legacy. 1, 2, 3, and they're into the OPL final.
12, 1, and 15 was the end score for that Vladimir, and if that's not an MVP-worthy performance this entire series, then I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Choose just went mental, and Legacy as a team, a well-deserving 3-0 victory to the semifinals.
Just an unbelievable Vladimir performance. An MVP, that M does definitely not stand for mediocre.
No,
in this instance. Most certainly does, as my goodness, such a powerful performance. Have to mention the fact that Paradise finally got on the jacks, finally got some work done in this series, but it just flat out wasn't enough, and it shows that Legacy, even when they get tested at all, as they shake the hands of their fallen comrades, they are able to just come back into form.
Yeah, they definitely have found their stride here. AV, we always called them the underdogs coming into this series. I said there's always the possibility that AV take a game, maybe the whole series.
Yeah.
Nobody underrated them, but Legacy just put on a clinic, especially in that third game through the middle lane.
Yeah, and we heard from Carbon as well, the fact that Legacy were never going to underestimate Avant. They looked fantastic in the tiebreaker series. This is a team that really means business. We're going to be looking at them for the next split. Of course, the first split of 2017 will be a big one for Avant, I think.
Yeah, Avant definitely looking up. That was a fantastic season from them, and I do look forward to seeing what's there from this future Avant Garde side. But for now, Legacy are our first team to make it to the finals. They're going to Brisbane.
They are most certainly are to face either the Direwolves or Chiefs. I'm not sure which one they would prefer at this stage, but of course already booked themselves a spot. Could be that Chiefs Legacy final one more time, but we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down that 3-game victory by Legacy.
Well, there we have it. Our first finalist is going to be Legacy after they downed Avant Garde 3-0. Let's start by talking about this first one I want to make with you guys. I asked you for your MVPs. None of you picked up Paradise. And in that game, we saw him taking on 4 people at a time.
Yeah,
you couldn't kill him.
As far as Jax play goes, that man's a Jax player. And I think that, whilst Avant Garde weren't able to really pick up a victory here, Paradise definitely did. And I think that lots of people will turn their heads towards the rookie because he's had a pretty good split and a very good final.
Oh, my goodness. Let's go some early impressions of that game. It seemed like an early lead was taken by Avant Garde, but then, Legacy's just too strong in the end, right?
League of Legends fans everywhere have a term for this, Hingers, that I'm going to bring you in on, and it's called Clown Fiesta. And what we mean by this term is where, you can just cue up the Benny Hill music and have 15-minute team fights, because these two teams, I don't know if maybe Choo Choo's took issue to something that was said in an earlier interview, or, Paradise just wanted to kill everyone, but they were chasing each other all over the map for us. This was an ugly, scrappy game of League of Legends.
No, Spawn, we call it chaos style, not clown fiesta. That's the correct terminology for this. No, it was very clear that Aaron had a beef to grind there on the Vladimir, had a phenomenal performance throughout the entire series, but specifically in this last game was the big carry on campus. His team needed him a little bit sooner to kind of turn and deal with that Jax as the big AP carry, but it was hilarious just watching Choo Choo's like, guys, just take the Jax. I got all 4 of them over here, and he turns around, his whole team's there. He's like, oh shit, I got to take care of this.
Yeah, and but that comes back to something that we've been talking about, is that Legacy are a team that I don't know if throwing the gaunt like this is a good idea. And I used to say this about Chiefs. Chiefs, okay, team fighting team, but you don't want to do it against Legacy because they have one commanding voice, which is Carbon, and I feel like they do follow his calls incredibly well throughout these late games team fights. It's something they've always been good at, these coin flip situations. And, Avant gave him about 15 coin flip situations there, and Legacy won every single one of them, so maybe it's not a coin flip.
All right, well, let us hear straight from the horse's mouth. I'm going to throw to one of the players right now who's talking to Atlas.
Thank you very much, Hingers, and I'm here with Aaron Choo Choo's Bland, the man in the mid lane, and that Vladimir God from the final series.
Thank you.
Just ridiculous stuff. That scoreline was out of control. And I'm going to start this off asking about, okay, so Triple had some choice words for you at the beginning of this series. Actually had an interview and said that, potentially a mediocre mid laner. I think you've definitely set the record straight. But are you feeling in form at the moment? This feels like a new and improved Choo Choo's right now.
I definitely understand why he called me mediocre. I actually told myself that I felt like I fell behind quite a fair bit during the mid-season. But I really focused a lot on improving, especially I was quite selfish actually in a lot of teams. But in the long run, especially today, I was really happy. So, and I think I definitely showed that I've improved.
Yes, you most certainly did. The Talia performance was utterly fantastic. That last Vladimir game was definitely a standout. And you guys actually looked incredibly comfortable here. Of course, moving to 6.15, very new patch, adjustments had to be made. How did it go transitioning from sort of lane swap meta to let's never lane swap again?
Yeah, it was kind of bad for us, to be honest. We really didn't think about how drastic this change was. So when we were told that the finals are going to be 6:15, we just prepared as fast as we could. I think every team's really done that. And I think Calvin and Kuden, or King and Kuden, are really have a really good synergy at the moment from the start of the split to now. And I think they solo killed them a couple times. So I was really happy with that.
Yeah, King and Kuden actually played out of their minds, especially games 1 and 2. That Trundle and the Bard from Kuden really was a career-defining performance from the bottom lane, so looked brilliant. I got one more question. Of course, we've got Direwolves versus Chiefs coming up tomorrow in our next semi-final, and I dare to ask you, of course, who do you think you'd prefer in that grand final in Brisbane?
Would be kind of repetitive saying the Chiefs again, but I'm going to say the Chiefs again just because, I don't know, I have to beat them. The finals, Legacy Chiefs, it just has to be. So, sorry, Direwolves.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, the inevitability here in the Oceanic scene. So thank you so much and congratulations, Choo Choo's. Still our OPL legend title holders and now our finalists here. And we're going to throw it back to you, Hingers.
Thank you, Atlas. Well, Chuchu's just saying that he would rather play the Chiefs in that final tonight. I mean, watching the games tonight, do you think this sets them up well for going into that final if they do indeed play against the Chiefs? Frosco?
Ooh, that's really hard to say just because, frankly, Avant didn't challenge Legacy very much. I feel like Legacy really hardly kind of broke a sweat. We expected those games to be much closer, but even when Legacy fell behind early, they were still able to regain control in the mid-game and then just dominate Avant Garde and late-game decision-making, you know, barring some great individual performance from Paradise. Whereas Chiefs Direwolves, I mean, this was the appetizer, and tomorrow's like the main course, because obviously you have much closer competition in those seeds, and Chiefs are just on a whole nother level. The context or like the asterisk to that, though, is that the Chiefs really haven't been tested since they've come back into form. You know, they slumped for a little bit where they faced like their really tough schedule. Then they came back and just smashed Sin. They looked phenomenal. Their map movements very smart across the map. But it's like, will they look as smart and as clean if they face someone who's actually worth their time?
And like on the same note, I mean, both of the Direwolves and Chiefs have had a roster swap.
Sure.
I mean, like, can they even play a macro game of League of Legends right now with utility and initiation being on the 80 carry so much? I mean, you have to be able to trust that that's going to land, and you have to know when they're going to pull the trigger on it. You know, with Rays moving over to the Chiefs and Radier going over to the Direwolves, it's going to be interesting whether any of that really does play a big impact in the final.
All right, well, I'm going to get more of your thoughts on that game tomorrow in a second, but let's look at the bracket right now. For tomorrow, we're going to be seeing Direwolves versus Chiefs, that second semi-final for that second place in the final, which is next week. It is so close. It is so close, you guys. So, Frosco, you're not going to be here tomorrow, so let's run through. The context is Direwolves versus Chiefs. They're playing for that final semi-final spot. They are also, as Spawns just said, roster swap, direct swaps. I mean, these are basically untested lineups right now in competitive play.
Yes, untested lineups, although I think it is very fair and has been very tested that right now, Radier is not performing to the expectations that we thought he did. You know, when Chiefs were slumping, a lot of the finger pointing, if you will, especially on the analyst desk, went to Radier's individual performance on Jhin. So I definitely think that it's actually an upgrade that the Chiefs made in terms of just raw individual 1v1 talent. And now it becomes a question, you know, the Chiefs have been together for so long. You have to have faith that they know what they were doing, that they said that there was a fundamental difference about how they were playing the game, and so hopefully they find this energy, and you know, Quinn looks good for them.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you know, at the same time, Radier's very happy now. He said one of his goals was to play for another team. I think that is going to be there. His university's over for the year. He can really focus in on this. I think that this was a swap that will actually help both teams. Direwolves now have a very veteran bottom lane with Regret and Radier. Of course, they want to book their spot at Korea Mail Piazza August 13th with the finals. Haven't been able to do that
with
one in a while.
With your good friends at...
Yeah, Hoyt. We'll get to them in a second. However, I said last week on Twitter, you know, if I had to pick one player to build a team around right now, it would be Raze. I think he's the best player in the league. He's so skilled mechanically. I just can't see new bottom lanes where it does come down to very much like how well you can actually micro against your opponent. I just don't see anyone beating Ejim and Raze right now. They're just too damn good.
All right, best support, the best AD carry in the league.
Frosco, you're going to be here tomorrow, so let's just get your predictions on Direwolves versus Chiefs. Now your colours to a mast. I want no cowardice here. Pick a team. Let's go.
It's Chiefs.
It's
100%.
Chiefs. 100%. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, that is enough from us here. Thank you for watching. That is a 3-0 win Legacy over Avant Garde. We'll be back tomorrow from 6 p.m. with Chiefs Direwolves, that second semi-final. From all of us here at the desk, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.